This is TWIS, This Week in Science, episode number 543, recorded on Wednesday, December 2nd, 2015. It's getting hot in here. Hey everyone, I am Dr. Kiki, and today we are going to fill your heads with death from suffocation, a little coal in the ground, and some bird quarrels. But first...
Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. The world is much older than mankind, and for most of our human academic history, we have looked back through the history that preceded us and deemed it unsentient. Life has evolved through chance and natural selection, and we humans are the first to have the power of will, the advanced knowledge of cause and effect necessary to impart our will upon the planet. We make choices that benefit our survival, while the rest of nature merely reacts. But what if that isn't entirely true? What if other life forms have been doing this subtly throughout time? We now know that epigenetics is an active partner in evolution. Things encountered in one generation can have effects on future generations, like plant studies involving drought in one generation, leading to early blooming in the subsequent future generations, or how mice who encounter a smell associated with a shock in one generation heightens the response to that smell in future generations, as though acting on cause and effect knowledge. Epigenetic memory is doing that thing we humans thought was reserved for us and us alone. This ability to strategize, to make choices, to take actions now that can only benefit us later on. And while this could mean that humanity isn't entirely unnatural in its ability to make choices based on previous knowledge, it is quite natural that this ability has led you back here for yet another episode of This Week in Science. Coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind I can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening. What's happening? What's happening this week in science? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening this week in science?
Good science to Kirsten and Blair.
And good science to you, Justin, Blair, and everyone out there. It's another week, another episode of This Week in Science. And do you know what's happening as we speak right now, this very instant?
Huh?
Some sort of science?
Some sort of amazing science. It's amazing science. The LISA Pathfinder craft is being launched by the European Space Agency right now, this very second. It's about 9 minutes and 43 seconds into its flight. It has been launched. It is heading up and out of the Earth's influence, and it is going to head someplace deep solar system between here and the sun, and it's going to be searching for gravitational waves. Or it's actually testing equipment that could be used to search for gravitational waves. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, so if you weren't watching TWIS right now, you could go to the ESA's website and watch the launch live.
I'll be back in like 10, 12 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, man. So we are in the middle of new space history being made, which is always so cool, but there's lots of other science history being made by scientists on this planet day in and day out, and we're going to talk about some of that this week. I brought stories about brain genes for disease and maybe some breast genes for disease in the brain also. Additionally, I've got a lot of news about climate change this week. And what was my other exciting story? Oh yeah, gene editing. What are we going to do about that? Justin, what'd you bring?
I've got carbon capture, smart plants. I have also got a story about 80 million year old blood vessels and the hidden ancestor of giraffes.
Ooh.
No. Very cool. Yeah. Blair's like, giraffes? Yay.
What?
That
What?
was an ooh jinx.
And I think her neck extended a
Yes,
couple
it
of
did.
feet there. Blair, what's in the animal corner today?
Oh, I have invisible cuttlefish. I have talkative finches and black widow DNA.
Ooh, I like Black Widow DNA. Well, no, I don't know that I do, actually.
It's pretty cool. You'll like it.
Never mind. All right, everybody, we are going to get right into the news. Let's start going with some uplifting. No, not really. Not really. Let's talk about climate change. Let's talk about everything that's been going on at the Climate Change Conference for the past couple of days. The conference is ongoing in Paris, France at the moment, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I believe the leaders of countries are on their way out. They've come in and said what they were going to say, but all the worker bees are busily going to keep working at the conference to see if any agreements can be made. So, interesting news coming out at the meeting in Paris. We have a poll that's been provided to the BBC by a research group called GlobeScan. The BBC is reporting on this poll for public support of action on climate change. So basically, what kind of action should be taken by governments to reduce carbon emissions? And it turns out that there's a lot less support for drastic action by the public than there was during the Copenhagen meeting in 2009. So just under half of those surveyed in 2009. I mean, in 2009, it was 63% of people surveyed thought that it was a very serious problem. Climate change was very serious, needed to be dealt with. And now it's just under half. We're talking about like 42% want the government to play a big role, and 41% want gradual action as opposed to more definitive action taken right now. Researchers think that this probably is the result of economic changes since the recession and the economic slowdown. So people are now more focused on the economy. They're more, which would mean be careful of the steps that you take to limit carbon dioxide should they happen to hamper the economy.
Right.
We don't want another recession to happen anytime soon. So there's that.
What people don't realize, though, is that by cutting those corners now, they're going to pay financially later.
Yes, exactly. But when you're thinking with your wallet, you're thinking about whether or not you're going to make this month's rent, this month's bills, not 3 or 4 years from now.
Right.
Usually. Yeah, and thinking also long term, another report was briefed at the the Paris meeting of this climate summit. Researchers have analyzed data from Coal Swarm's updated global coal plant tracker, and this coal plant tracker has been looking at the global emissions of carbon dioxide from coal-fired power plants, and so they have a current amount of carbon emissions from coal-fired power plants, and they estimated what would happen to carbon emissions should all the coal-fired power plants that are in development or planning stages come to be between now and 2030, and they determined that if all of them go as planned, if every coal-fired power plant around the world gets built, we will see a 400% increase in carbon dioxide levels, which will absolutely lead us to exceed our 2 degrees Celsius temperature increase that has been already agreed upon by global nations. However, there are the issue here, according to the briefing and a BBC article that I was perusing, is that third world countries, less economically advantaged countries, want their people to have power. So there are the groups, the parts of the government that deal with agreements that are made globally. And then there are the parts of the government that deal with supplying power to the people. And they don't always talk to each other. And they don't always agree on how things should be done. So, for instance, India is going right ahead with building many, many coal-fired power plants, even though it's going to probably put their emissions over the top of their agreed-upon levels. So that's a fun thing. Yay, economics again. Woohoo. Can't we just gift everybody solar power?
That's what I was just about to say. Can we just send a whole bunch of solar panels over there?
There's got to be something that can be done. Yes, we want these nations to all have power. We want people to have the utilities that they need to be able to move forward and be upwardly mobile in the world. However, can we do it better? Can third world countries learn from first world nations' mistakes and not repeat the mistakes in the same way?
What we need is a big fundraiser, like Band Aid, or like the big fundraiser that happened after the troubles in Haiti, where we send U2, we have all of the other famous people. They come on, they ask for money to be donated for solar panels for third world countries.
Exactly, solar panel, wind, solar, wave power. I don't know. And then some other great news. So as we are looking at the expansion of coal-fired power plants around the globe, we're also looking at evidence of climate change occurring around the world. For instance, there's a report from the BBC on lakes forming in the Mount Everest glacier, where there have historically been small ponds that form in ravines, but because of melting from the top of the glacier as the glacier moves down the mountain, because it's all melting, these ponds are getting bigger and they are expanding and joining up together and creating lakes. And these lakes are potentially very dangerous to local populations because should the ice walls that hold them in burst, local towns could be inundated with floodwaters and many people could lose their lives. So, yay! Hey, happy news! Oh, and then my big exciting woohoo! So if drowning from a lake bursting from a glacier isn't enough, or rising ocean levels from melting glaciers and ice caps aren't enough that you're going to be flooded out of your house and home, we're just going to suffocate, actually. So last week, Justin talked about how blue-green algae were responsible for bringing oxygen to planet Earth, possibly during a great oxidation event. Well, increasing ocean temperatures as a result of those increased carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere will cause phytoplankton to have a real problem doing what they do. So phytoplankton, which are responsible for a large portion of oxygen creation on the planet Earth currently, 6 degrees Celsius of ocean water increase could stop oxygen production by these tiny creatures, disrupting photosynthesis, and this could happen as soon as 2100, the year 2100. So just 85 years away, we could start suffocating ourselves. Hey, everybody, how does that sound?
Well, and it's a positive feedback loop, because the second phytoplankton starts dying, not only will they stop creating oxygen, but they'll stop taking in carbon dioxide.
Right.
So that will again make it increase in temperature even faster.
Yep.
Oh boy.
So
those solar panels for third world countries doesn't sound so stupid now, does it?
Well, okay. It could be a really bad idea, actually. But this is the economy of coal kind of a thing, right? Where you start to generate a form of energy that's there, and we start cutting back on the use of coal here in the United States. The price of coal drops because the major user of it, which is the power plants, stop doing it. and therefore it becomes much cheaper for those in the third world to get access to it, and then there's more coal being burned because their populations are generating the need for this industrialization. It just could be bad. This is sort of on the heels of everything you said. This is the findings from the University of Michigan. They did a study on carbon capture and storage, that whole idea that you can capture carbon from the coal power plants. And it's not really too, it's more bad news, right? But basically what the summary of it is, the best way to utilize this is just to keep the coal in the ground in the first place and never burn it. All of our carbon capture and storage techniques, as were sort of suggested from a 1991 study by the Energy Something group out of Palo Alto, basically you have to use even more energy to do the capturing of the energy. So you solve the problem sort of now, but you create this loop that keeps increasing the need to burn more coal or to use more energy to create this process. So their assessment is, after looking at all the data, they go, yeah, just don't start it. Just don't start this in the first place because it just ends badly. They also point out that a lot of subsequent studies that looked into carbon capture and storage have ignored the future feedback loop, and therefore pretty much all the information that we have about carbon capture at the plant level is worthless.
There's so much positive news going on right now.
Well, I think there is. I think there is in the second half. In the second half, there might be a little bright spot to this whole plants dying and everything. There's a silver bullet that's not really going to save us, but at least the planet will continue. This is kind of interesting, though. We may actually have survive in some form much longer than we thought. This is researchers from North Carolina State University. They have confirmed that blood vessel-like structures were found in an 80 million year old hadrosaur fossil.
Whoa!
The structure is original to the animal. It's not a leftover biofilm that had been inhabiting a blood vessel, so it had the appearance of. No, this is the actual surviving structure. The finding add to the growing body of evidence that structures like blood vessels and cells can persist over millions of years, and the data not only confirm earlier reports of protein sequences in dinosaurs, they represent a significant advance in the methodology. Molecular paleontologist Tim Cleland, currently a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Texas, Austin, began the work while a graduate student at North Carolina State. He demineralized a piece of leg bone from a 30-foot-long hadrosaur that roamed what is now Montana about 80 million years ago. Cleland analyzed and determined the bone, demineralized the bone with high-resolution mass spectrometry and found several distinct proteins from the cellular components of the blood vessels. One of these proteins, myosin, is found in the smooth muscles associated with the walls of blood vessels. So, this is getting to that edge of that sort of Jurassic Park possibility, potentiality. They're being able to do some amount of sequencing. Of course, this isn't something you could get a dinosaur out of it. We don't have anything full. But having these proteins available to study now, having some genetic material, some organic material that they can study from a dinosaur is going to give us this whole other class of tissue study on dinosaurs.
That's awesome. Being able to look at dinosaurs from another angle and be able to get more information about them and their lives and how big they were and what they did, it's great.
Yeah, and there's maybe some locked-in evolutionary information in there, but also the methodology that they used was they borrowed heavily from other methods that had been used in the past, and so it's sort of a new way of going about this. So it could be applied. It could be applied, perhaps, to early human ancestry, to early. This is something that's it's being utilized. 80 million year old fossils. Why not 2 million? Maybe we have other paths that we can do some studying.
That would be fantastic. More paths to science information. That's good news. That's the kind of news I like. Yeah. All right. So, Justin, do you have any more stories for the beginning of the show
Not
here?
for the first half. Not for the first half.
Not for the
I'm ready
first
to
half.
rock in the second half. I'm
All
all
right.
about the second half.
All right, second half of the show, not coming yet because this is This Week in Science, and do you know what time it is?
Gosh, it's about midway through the show. It must be time for Blair's Animal Corner.
She loves our creatures, great and small. Biped, millipede, no pet at all. Wanna hear about animals? She's your girl. Except for giant pandas and squirrels.
What you got, Blair?
Oh, I have some stuff to cheer you guys up for sure.
Woo.
Yay! First off, let's start with one of my favorite animals in the whole world, cuttlefish. Cuttlefish.
Cuddly
Pretty
fish.
Yes, cuttlefish. They are the cephalopod that keeps on giving, you guys. They just, every time I turn around, they have a new secret to share with the scientific community. And today, it's electrical camouflage.
Whoa, electrical.
Right. Yes. So we already know that cephalopods and cuttlefish in particular are really good at camouflage, and they actually have little color cells that swell and contract so that they can change color in vibrant, fast, fantastic ways, blend right in with the background. Well, if you're a shark, you have an extra sense that make the cuttlefish still very easy to see, even when they are perfectly camouflaged, and that's electroreception. So sharks can sense electrical fields. They actually have a special organ in their in the front of their face called the ampullae of Lorenzini, and that's that helps them to identify these electrical fields coming from living animals. And in particular, in cuttlefish, what they are honing in on is their respiration. And when cephalopods like cuttlefish respire, when they breathe, they take water in and out of little siphons. So it's like a little straw coming out of their mantle, which is like the hood-like thing above their eyeballs. And so when they're taking water in and out through their siphon, there's this movement of water that is creating an electrical field, and that is what the sharks are grabbing at. Even when the cuttlefish aren't visually camouflaging, a lot of the time they're still hard to see because sharks have eyes on the sides of their head, and they have a pretty big snout. Even if you think about hammerheads, of course, they're very wide, but even normal other sharks that have kind of pointed faces, they still can't see directly in front of them, so their field of vision isn't great. And so this electroreception helps them find cuttlefish even when they can't see them. Unless
there's always an unless. Okay.
Unless the cuttlefish, what they do is they freeze in place. They slow down their breathing. They throw their arms over the siphons and cover them. They clamp down their mantle, that flap, and the electric current around them, their bioelectric potential, drops by almost 90%. So when they're at rest but just normal, they are giving off about 10 to 30 microvolts of bioelectric potential. And when they do this kind of clamp down behavior and slow down their breath, they're only giving out about 6 microvolts. So again, that's a reduction of almost 90%.
Yeah, it's small to begin with, but yeah, wow.
Yeah, so they say it's about 75,000 times weaker than a AAA battery is their normal bioelectric potential. So it's very weak to begin with. The sharks can sense it, but then they bring it all the way down to just 6 microvolts. The way they figured this out, it's pretty interesting. They took cuttlefish in tanks and they put iPads right up to the edge of their tank. Wow. And they showed silhouettes of sharks, of groupers, and of crabs. And
Crabs.
why the crab? Well, that was their control. When the fish or the grouper or the shark came by, the cuttlefish froze down, clamped down, covered up their siphon, slowed their breathing. But the crab, they didn't care. They just hung out. And so they checked that with the cuttlefish. Then they wanted to see about sharks. And they put electrodes in with juvenile black-tip sharks and adult bonnethead sharks and gave off the same 10 to 30 microvolts, the normal bioelectric potential. And these sharks bit at the equipment. But then when they simulated the 6 microvolts, the freezing response, only half of the time did they actually bite at the equipment.
Wow. So the sharks were tuning into the that particular signal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's a cuttlefish. I'm going to eat you.
Yes. Yeah. Now, some of you out there, some cuttlefish fanatics out there are going, but wait a second, cuttlefish already have defense mechanisms.
Wait, did you just say cuttlefish fanatics?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I am a cephal enthusiast. I just made that up. So, hashtag cephal enthusiast.
Oh my goodness. I love that so much. You need a t-shirt.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyway, cuttlefish, they already have a defense mechanism, which is they blast ink in their predator's face and jet away. What they found was that the sharks that they had in the lab were actually excited by the current created by the jetting behavior, and that the taste or sensation of ink actually made them more excited, more interested, more likely to pursue.
Wow.
So this really is an absolute last-ditch resort by the cuttlefish to get out of there. So first they kind of try to hide, and then if it looks like the sharks are going for them anyway, then they will ink and jet.
And that ink jet, and it's just fascinating that all of the signals that the cuttlefish has evolved to evade the sharks are things that the shark tunes into. This micro voltage, that 6 microvolts, that's the one thing they haven't quite gotten yet.
Right.
That's
and
like
if you think about it, if you think about it, it's kind of like the shark is going, is there a cuttlefish there? I'm not sure. It really seems like there's a cuttlefish there. And then if there's inking and jetting, like, I knew it! There he goes.
I'm a cephal enthusiast. Let's ink and jet, man.
Yeah. That's what the back of the t-shirt says. Now, speaking of animal communication.
Oh, yes.
Birds, and our absolute favorite bird, the zebra finch, right, Kiki, they, yeah, exactly. Can I have some more of that?
Meep, 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 meep,
yep.
Meep, 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 meep.
Yep, so that's how they talk. Exactly. Right? Oh my god. And they're monogamous, so they form very strong bonds, and they also are very good cooperators when it comes to parental care. They pretty much share all parental duties straight down the line 50-50. They incubate nests, they get food for chicks, they take equal breaks away from the chicks. It's all, for the most part, 50-50. And researchers wanted to find out exactly how they figure out what 50-50 is between them. And so the study looked at 12 different pairs of Australian zebra finches, and specifically what they wanted to see was, on average, these finches would leave the nest for about 30 minutes. What would happen if they delayed one of them coming back? So the scientists deliberately delayed the return of the male partner to the nest. Instead of the normal 30 minutes, it took him an hour to get back to his mate and his nest. And then they wanted to see what the female would do. So they expected kind of a tit-for-tat behavior where the female would then leave for an hour. He's like, well, if you're going to be gone that long, I'm going to be gone that long. What they actually saw was that there was a very intense exchange, vocal exchange, more meep conversation. And what they found was that if the male called only a few times when he was late, the female's absence would be almost exactly as long as the male's. But if the male that was held back had a very long exchange with the female, she returned from foraging in less than half an hour. It sounds like he was making excuses for his absence, and therefore she came back right away. So that's the really extreme kind of anthropomorphic extrapolation of what's happening here.
Right.
Oh, sweetie, you don't understand. These men, they grabbed me. I couldn't get back. You shouldn't be gone for too long. I'm going to be worried about you. Right? But they did see...
Come back sooner, honey. I know I was gone too long. You don't have to go. Don't just come back. Come back. I want to be with you.
Exactly. It's not my fault. I'm so sorry.
Justin, you've never made excuses or stayed out too long, have you?
If by excuse you mean an unavoidable set of circumstances and a lengthy explanation, then no, never.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, the further extrapolation by the scientists on this study was that the kind of conflict resolution, so the upfront communication of these finches with each other, improved the quality of the parental care because it reduced conflict and it didn't affect how long this kind of tit-for-tat behavior doesn't work for the kids, essentially. And when it's a type of animal that relies so much on parental care, it's more beneficial to do your fair share and have open communication about what's going on than to kind of do something out of spite, right? It's more healthy for the children.
Like if you know that your partner has been off doing whatever, that he's not being a helpful partner, that he's just out doing playing golf and having drinks and not bothering to come back just because he doesn't respect you, then yes, go stay out as long as he did. Right? That's the tit for tat behavior. Mm-hmm. But what you're saying is what these birds are doing is actually talking it out, and the guy is going, "Hey, I was held up. I couldn't do anything about it. I tried to get back, but I really couldn't make it. I
wanted to be here. I really did."
And then the female bird goes, "Oh, okay," and comes back in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
As nature should dictate.
Communication in child rearing is important no matter what species.
Yeah, and so just as all of our conversation now naturally went straight to a lying behavior, that's what these researchers want to study next, is honesty. They think that birds are mostly going to be honest, or the system would break down, but they want to know what happens if they manipulate the female into thinking that her partner has lied. And that would be by playing a different song instead of letting her hear what the male is actually saying. Increasing call rate, using playback recordings. So that's really, is she going to be able to parse out when he's not being truthful, and then does her cooperative behavior fall away?
Wow.
And then that also...
Talk about experimental manipulation.
Yeah, I know. What a bummer. Home wrecker scientists of their zebra families. But it's kind of, that would also directly relate to how complex this communication is, because mostly in the study they only measured the length of the exchange, how long they were chirping at each other before the female left for an hour or less than 30 minutes. So what is it exactly that they're saying to each other? Or is it just that the male is like in a tizzy and so can't stop talking because he's so worked up because he got held up? Or is he actually conveying information?
Or is he treading water? Like, hasn't thought through the excuse, so he's just going to start talking and hope that the talking can sometime get stopped by him being not in trouble anymore, because then, like, I would never... Also, have you ever noticed that these walls in this nest really do look a little twiggy. We should do something about this. Can I go work on that now?
Yeah, so that's the next step. What are they saying?
What are they saying, and how much do they know about what the other is saying? That's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Interesting. Well, bird communication, always a little bit more, always becoming more and more complicated than we once knew. I love it. So let's keep the communication going. There's a second half to this show. We're going to take a quick break, and I hope that you will join us. Keep joining us. Continue to watch the show as we continue to bring you more science discussion. We've got brains and all sorts of fun stuff in the second half. Gene editing, great stuff. Stay with us. Stay tuned. Just a minute. Hey everybody, This Week in Science we're selling calendars right now. It's almost the end of the year. Do you need a calendar? 2016 TWIS Blair's Animal Corner calendars are available now. Make sure to get one before they're gone, or before the end of next year anyway. But these are amazing calendars. They are full of art that has been drawn right up behind me here in this image by Blair. She drew all of the images in this calendar. They are high quality, colorful prints, and the calendar contains reminders about when you can find TWIS, when you can find it, Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, and other geeky and science-y holidays and days that we should all be observing throughout the year. So it's fun, full of fun stuff, and we hope that you will really, really buy one, or maybe buy one for a friend and enjoy it for the entire year. They're $20. Can't get better than that. So that's right. Go to TWIS.org and you can buy a calendar right there. If you want to do more than just buy a calendar, we also have other goods that are available through our Zazzle store. So again, at TWIS.org, look for that Zazzle store link, and you'll be able to find hats and mugs and t-shirts and stamps and ornaments. Maybe get an ornament for your Christmas tree before Christmas happens. You could do that. Or an ornament for your Hanukkah house. Okay, that didn't work very well. Beyond the goods, TWIS is also supported by listeners just like you. That's right, you guys out there, you really help keep TWIS going. The money that you donate to us helps us make the show happen week after week, so that we have equipment, so that we can sound good, so that we have videos, so that you can have a picture to watch if you want to watch us on YouTube or watch us live. We can have lights and all, so we can even have an internet connection. It's amazing what you guys help us do. If you would like to donate to the show, it is possible in two ways. We have PayPal buttons all over the website, twis.org. Just go there and look for the PayPal donation buttons all over. Makes it quick and easy. 1 or 2 clicks and you'll be done. Additionally, we have a Patreon account. So Patreon's kind of like a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo for content creators. And you can support us like a patron of the arts in an ongoing way. Week after week, you can support us. Patreon.com/thisweekinscience. That's patreon.com/thisweekinscience. Head over there right now to be able to support us throughout this and the rest of this year and into the coming year. If you can't help us through donations or buying goods, don't worry about that. But there are many ways that you can get involved and help out the show. We always need help with getting people to know about TWIS. So if you can help us share our tweets whenever we tweet something out, if you can help retweet it, if you can provide comments and good ratings on iTunes and YouTube, subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe to these things, YouTube, iTunes. Subscriptions count. It really makes a difference toward our bottom line in the end. Share, and subscribe. We thank you for your support. We really could not do all of this without you.
And we are back with more This Week in Science.
Booyah! What you got there, Justin?
Okay, so if I can find it. All right, this is a new theory being presented by Princeton University researchers in the journal Nature Plants, suggesting that plants are making choices and that those choices are affecting the biome of the planet upon which we are standing, or perhaps sitting, maybe even lying down at this moment. So this is one of the first global theories of land biome evolution. Researchers write that plants may actively behave in ways that not only benefit themselves, but also determine the productivity and composition of their environment. Quotey voice here. Our theory explains biomes based on the new idea that we must consider plants to be smart and strategic, says senior author Lars Hedden, a Princeton professor of ecology and evolutionary biology and department chair. The researchers developed their theory while trying to solve a long-standing mystery in ecology of why it is that trees that can produce their own fertilizer from atmospheric nitrogen grow where they do. They thrive where scientists suppose they shouldn't and struggle in seemingly ideal conditions. These plants are known as nitrogen.
And
Up to the
we
roof.
have a frozen.
I was frozen. A very unfortunate pose there for a moment.
It was very unfortunate.
Google, you waited for me to make a funny face before you did this.
The plants serve as what again, Justin?
Okay. The plants are known as nitrogen fixers.
Uh-huh.
These use soil bacteria. They use secretions within their root system that attract bacteria known as rhizobia to infect their root cells. In exchange for carbohydrates that the plant produces by photosynthesis, the rhizobia convert nitrogen in the air into fertilizer that the plants need, with excess nitrogen from the host plant eventually creating a nitrogen cycle in and around the plant that benefits all the neighboring plants and trees as well. The majority of nitrogen fixers occur in the diverse legume family that includes also beans and peas.
Yes.
Strangely, these legume trees flourish in nitrogen-rich tropical soils where they're represented by hundreds of species, yet the nitrogen-poor soils of boreal and temperate forests, nitrogen-fixing trees are not nearly as prevalent or as long-lived. And this is the big mystery. This is the thing that this whole study was looking to try to solve. Because you would assume, and perhaps as ecologists did, that they would thrive in low nitrogen environments because they would be having their own fertilizer where all the neighboring plants didn't, and so they would grow quickly while everything else would be sort of slow growth. Whereas in a place that had lots of nitrogen, what's the benefit of being able to create your own nitrogen? It seems like you would do just as well as anybody else if there's plenty of fertilizing going on. Self-fertilizing is useless. But instead, nitrogen fixers in the high nitrogen environments thrived, while in the low nitrogen environment, they were literally overshadowed by all of the neighboring trees and plants. What's going on? Figure this out. Hedden and his co-authors used an evolutionary game theory model to analyze how nitrogen-fixing trees would fare in tropical and non-tropical forests that had been just disturbed by fire or mudslides, hurricanes, some sort of natural phenomenon that wiped out all the plants and let everything sort of start from a fixed point of, okay, everything's destroyed, now let's compete. Now let's just start a competition where nothing's already standing there, see what happens. What they found was, in tropical forests, nitrogen-fixing trees use their ability to provide a nutrient boost during early growth, but then they switch it off when the surrounding soil nitrogen is sufficient. This allows them to sort of get that early start, that head start. They grow quickly, faster than everything around them, and so they become the canopy. There's nothing taller than them to interrupt their connection to the sunlight. Right? They're not filtering through the canopy. Boom. Success. This is why they thrive there. What happens in the low nitrogen scenario, though, when there's not as much nitrogen in the soil, the plant is making a different strategy, taking different strategy, making a different choice. It's actually not utilizing as much energy. Excuse me, it's continuing. It never turns it off. It never turns off the nitrogen production because it feels like it still needs it. And this is using energy that then creates slow growth. However, the plants around it, who are used to a low nitrogen environment, go, oh, wow, look, where's all this nitrogen coming from? Grow! We don't have to spend energy at all on trying to produce our own nitrogen because there's now nitrogen we can use by being near this plant that's producing it for us, and those plants become the canopy, therefore overshadowing our nitrogen fixer. So,
right at the punchline here.
Found they can in fact be quite strategic. Our theory suggests that the distribution of nitrogen fixers across biomes and the great success of fixers in tropical forests is a result of evolution of smart plant strategies. So it's one of the other things in this too is that the effect of having nitrogen fixers in those low nitrogen biomes kickstarts, jumpstarts, gives an acceleration to the redevelopment of that forest, even though they eventually get overshadowed and don't get to sort of have the big stronghold there. They actually are kickstarting those environments and getting them going quicker than they normally would.
That's right. It's really interesting also to think of plants as the quote-unquote smart system, like the way that we're developing smart houses that can self-regulate the temperature of the house based on activities of people in the homes. Obviously, here there are people training the smart house temperature systems. It's not just the houses deciding on their own, but it's neat to be able to consider plants as having these intrinsic controls.
Right.
And that's the thing too, is that they're not, it doesn't really sound to me like they're making a decision, like they're choosing what to do, which is kind of part of the sticky word use here, but it's more that there's these pre-programmed pathways to take. If this, then that. If this nitrogen concentration, then I will grow in this way. If low nitrogen, then I will grow in this other way.
So I would both agree and disagree with you completely on both of those. And here's why. Agreeing, of course, that this isn't sentient plants who are thinking over their next move while sipping on a cup of tea, right? Why plants would drink a plant-based beverage, I don't really understand. but evolutionarily, though, when you talk about having some sort of a strategy to deal with cause and effect, then over 1 billion years, or 2 billion years, or 3 billion years of plant evolution, you can sort of see these strategies as having a plan, as executing a strategy for success. So, yeah, the parsing of terms is a little bit on there. But here's the thing. Here's the other thing. And these are also, these legume-based trees and plants are in different regions, and that you can't just pick one up and put it in the other region and it will change strategy, right? That's not what this is saying. It's not that they're going to completely alter strategy simply based on where they are, but where they are is imposing these limits or these reactions. This is Benjamin Houghton, Associate Professor of Terrestrial Biogeochemistry at the University of California, Davis. He said that the work shows that it's possible to consider evolution at the scale of entire ecosystems and their functioning. Houghton was not involved in the work, but he did write some commentary in Nature Plants, which did the publishing. And he says the research could contribute to the development of a unifying theory of ecology that explains how adaptations among individual species result from ecosystem-wide patterns. Tying this back into how we started the show, though, in relation to nitrogen-fixing trees, specifically the Princeton research raises questions of how these important plants will fare in the future and what the consequences will be for forest carbon sink, says Houghton. The quick early growth facilitated by nitrogen fixing allows legume trees to absorb carbon rates at up to 9 times faster than non-legume trees. So this is a major carbon sink when these are growing, right? Nitrogen fixers have a crucial role in the removal of carbon dioxide from Earth's atmosphere. But here's the thing: we're also adding vast amounts of nitrogen to the global ecosystem, largely via agriculture and fossil fuel consumption. So there's, at the end of this story, there's a bunch of what ifs. So there's a little bit of the, well, if we're adding a lot of nitrogen, are we doing this in an area that is a low nitrogen area to begin with? If so, does that mean that these plants will die off? And then if they die off because they're already overshadowed, they don't get the quick starts, then they aren't going to be there to kickstart later if there's a fire or a flood or a natural event. The other aspect of it is possibly for those in the tropical area, they will be able to continue because they are already doing this in a high nitrogen environment. So lots of questions about the biome, the plant biome of soil and plant on this planet.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm still going to go with the if-then kind of simple instructions, allowing a seeming complexity.
Well,
I do understand what you're saying.
Okay, because I'm not saying it's happening on the fly that this is a new choice, that this is the only choice. It's the only choice. However, that choice came from somewhere, and as we've been learning from all this epigenetic information, there's some sort of knowledge, whether you call it information genetically coded or not, where that's what the information we're talking about is here.
Or an accident that turned out to be advantageous.
Yeah,
you could,
an accident. Mm-hmm.
You can say that. However, at the point we're at now, and I'll just stop rambling, I promise. At the point we're at now, as of for instance of the plant that saw a drought and then the next generation had the early bloom. I feel like plants have gone through that billions of years of trial and error to where those things that they do to survive are much more informed strategically with the cause and effect of billions of years of evolution within the genome to have actually, and I will say, figured out how to survive.
And now I have a whole bunch of stories related to genes and survival and kind of this question of where I'm going to throw all my stories for this second half all in together because they're all kind of related in the end, related to genetics and the question of how plants or animals, how life continues to survive when the right answers are found. You know, when supposedly an animal or a plant has evolved to a certain point and is perfectly adapted to its habitat, its environment, but then they change, and then those random accidents become something that is important for future survival because of changes in that environment. And so there are questions opened up as to whether or not these random accidents in our genome, you know, that maybe that random accidentness is really something that is so important to everything. It would never happen. We would never have gone on to where we are now without these random accidents. Speaking of random accidents, how likely is it that a brain disease could be influenced by a breast cancer protein?
Huh?
Well, since you asked.
Right? Since I asked, it's kind of a leading question. Yeah, researchers publishing in Nature Communications this week have found a link between BRCA BRCA1, which is known to be that abnormal or mutated BRCA1 genes lead to breast cancer. Now, the normal function of BRCA1 is DNA repair, and it's not only located in the breast tissue, it is located throughout the body, and it is located in neurons. It is involved in neuronal repair. Now, researchers never really keyed in on this. However, these researchers dealing with this new study from the Gladstone Institutes in San Francisco, they looked at the brains of patients that had died but had Alzheimer's disease, and they looked at proteins and genes that might be associated with their disease, and they found that those individuals who had Alzheimer's disease compared to healthy control brains, that there was a 75%, at most a 75% reduction of this BRCA1 gene in neurons in the brain. So Alzheimer's disease potentially reduces this. Related to Alzheimer's disease, there is a reduction in this BRCA1 DNA repair protein. So whether or not that repair protein decreases first and then leads to Alzheimer's disease, or how it all works together, they're not exactly sure. But they found that mouse neurons in culture with amyloid beta proteins, which are the proteins that get all clumped up in Alzheimer's disease, that those proteins depleted BRCA1. So amyloid beta proteins, those that are involved in the plaques in Alzheimer's disease, deplete BRCA1 in mice. So now the question, and now we've seen that there's a depletion of it in human brains. We don't know whether the same link happens because we haven't looked at that in human brains, but now they're wondering whether there's some way to boost BRCA1 levels in Alzheimer patients and whether that might protect brains from damage, which would be kind of cool. And additionally, this week, it's like everybody decided to throw their Alzheimer's disease gene research on the internet this week.
Must be a convention somewhere that we're not aware of.
I'm not aware of, yeah. So another study out of Australia, the Australian National University, they looked at 71 descendants of a family from northern Colombia, and they've passed down a gene called the PAISA mutation, which causes them to get Alzheimer's disease much younger than usual. So they looked at these 71 individuals. Some of them got Alzheimer's disease early in their 30s, whereas others in this group of people got it in their late 70s. So there was a wide variation in the onset of the disease. So the researchers were like, hey, I wonder if there's some kind of gene responsible for the onset of the disease. And so they looked and they found a genetic variation of a gene called ApoE2, and it appears to delay the start of Alzheimer's disease in people who have this mutation for the PAISA. The mutation, PSEN1 is the gene that gets mutated, and it delays it by about 12 years. So for those people who are genetically predisposed to get Alzheimer's disease at an early age, there's another mutation that potentially will slow that down.
See, so I thought you were going to say that there was a mutation responsible for the early onset. It actually went the other way.
Well, there is a mutation responsible for the early onset, but then there's another mutation that controls that and delays it. So you don't get the early onset, even if you have that mutation. Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, yowza.
You just cut that whole part and just chuck it. I don't want this part. It's garbage.
Yeah, so this is another interesting gene result, this ApoE gene, which is apolipoprotein E, which is known. There are variations of this gene that are known to be involved in Alzheimer's disease. ApoE4 is associated with a increased risk of Alzheimer's disease as people age. So older people being more likely to get it. And now, so this ApoE2 seems to delay stuff. So now we don't know whether or not there is some kind of working between ApoE4 and ApoE2 and how those things all work together. So anyway, it's complicated, very complicated system, all these genes. And then there's another gene that this week might also, this is the interesting one, might have led to the rise of grandmothers. So there's this question, and it's an Alzheimer's gene that might be related to why we have grandmothers. so why don't we die as soon as we're done having kids?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this hypothesis, the grandmother hypothesis, that posits that we have grandmothers because they help rear children. And so they improve the success of the genome for the group or the population. So looking at chimpanzees, our closest relatives, they don't really have grandmothers. There is an extreme drop-off after breeding age, mating age, child rearing age is over. So there's this gene, CD33, and it's been linked to Alzheimer's disease in previous studies. And so this evolutionary biologist, Pascal Gagne of UCSD, and another physician scientist, Ajit Varki, they were looking at CD33 and how it's involved in inflammation and immune response to injury or infection. However, one CD33 variant mutation predisposes people to Alzheimer's disease, and then the other version of the gene protects against Alzheimer's disease. So they found that interesting, and then they looked at they compared the two versions of the gene in human tissue and in chimpanzees. And they found that humans and chimps had similar amounts of the bad CD33, the kind that led to Alzheimer's disease. However, the protective variant was four times as high as that in chimps in humans. So humans had massively more of this protective CD33 than chimpanzees do. And so the idea that the evolutionary biologist side of this duo came up with is like, oh, well, chimps, they die when their fertility comes to an end, so they don't need a protective variant. So maybe that's not why it's around. And so maybe humans have more of this protective variant because we stick around longer, because we have grandmothers. And so their idea is that this CD33 evolved, this protective variant really evolved when humans first separated from primate ancestors, and that the genes evolved to protect the minds of grandmothers to not get Alzheimer's disease, so they would have their wits about them when they're running after the toddlers, helping the family.
I love the concept that the entire catalyst for human evolution is that we had grandma.
That we needed grandma.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily that we needed, because life went on without grandmother's presence for a billion years. But the fact that we did all of a sudden have grandma,
and not just
was
crazy,
hugely advantageous.
Yeah, and it's not just grandma whose mind goes and she can't remember anything, but this is healthy, competent grandma.
Yeah.
And so this isn't causality in any way, but we got grandma, and genes possibly evolved like this one, CD33, to protect the minds of elderly people.
So must say, lot of being raised by my own grandmother, who was always sharp as a tack. I could see the usefulness in having grandma involved.
Absolutely.
Also because she always had ice cream in the freezer. I think that was the next step.
Grandmas are good for those good things. Now, if you had the opportunity to alter any genes in your child's genome or your child-to-be, would you?
Yes. Yes.
Blair, you're looking.
I don't know. That's a really difficult question. Well, do they are they predisposed to get some terrible disease, or will life be made difficult for them in some way that could be remedied? Or do you just want a particular designer brand of a baby?
So, yeah, good question. But I mean, I was taking this immediately in the context of we know a gene that exists that can defend against Alzheimer's onset.
Right. Right.
Boom.
There you go.
There's one right there. How do you say no to that?
Yeah, if you know that your genome, you've got deleterious genes that are
Even
going
if
to
you
lead
don't.
to it, or you're like,
Even if you don't.
let's
Heck,
put in that variant that delays it.
Yeah, you don't
Right.
put on a safety belt or a seat belt because you know you're about to get into an accident. You put it on just to protect yourself every time you're on the road. That sort of thing.
Yeah. So right now in Washington, D.C., I mean, it's amazing the meetings that are happening this week. We've got the climate meeting, and in Washington, D.C., we have a meeting of genetic editing experts. There is a massive international summit going on that has been brought together by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. And if you're interested in it, you can go to the National Academy's website and you can actually check out a live video of the conference as it's ongoing during the discussion that's ongoing. I believe there's one more day to this summit that is taking place, and then there's going to be more discussion happening there. I've seen news reports, people saying, the experts are going to decide everything right now, and that's not true. The decisions are not being made at this summit. It is a summit to discuss scientific, ethical, and governance issues associated with human gene editing research. And the interesting aspect to this is, as this summit is going on and people are discussing whether or not we're going to allow gene editing of embryos, are we only going to allow it for, what are the ethics of prevention of disease? What are the ethics? Where is a line drawn in the sand of what is okay and what is not okay? An interesting question by someone I am hoping to get on the show in January, Paul Knopfler from UC Davis. He is a geneticist and has a book coming out, so I'm hoping to get him on today. On Twitter, he was tweeting a little bit and asked the question of whether or not kids, whether if you have had your genome edited, what is your responsibility for telling potential romantic partners that you are genetically modified? You know, should you go on to have children, will your genes then, these are questions that you maybe have not considered before. This is so fascinating. Fascinating.
But look, how often, I mean, I think these are questions that we pretend are new but exist already. Like, oh, I didn't know you had a history of cystic fibrosis when I married you, and
right.
anemia,
what is the
cancer,
responsibility?
Right, like this is always you know why they used to do blood tests before you got married?
Because people don't tell people things.
Right, they were actually looking for like a couple of disease markers that they would be able to explain. This goes way back. So, to me, that's just a meh. It's a meh. It's an It's like you have to wear the GMO label like everywhere, everywhere you go. You have to have a tattoo. Like, no.
Well, if this becomes widespread and acceptable, within just a couple generations, it'll be unusual to not be modified.
Yeah, and at this point, there are so many IVF children. There's the first IVF child was born when I was in school, right? And now she's a young adult, and there are many, many other children who are healthy and have come after her, and nobody knows who they are. They're part of the population. She was first,
Test tube babies.
She was the first, so we knew who she is, but there are many more now, and we don't have
and
to.
Also, this also I don't think will become as widespread as people might think, especially not necessarily that. I mean, the cosmetic surgery thing. Does everybody have cosmetic surgery just because it exists? No. Although there was a apparently I recall a story of I believe it was a Korean man who divorced and sued his wife.
Oh, yep.
Because the children, he thought, turned out not as attractive.
Right,
as he
and she hadn't told him that she had all this.
She had massive facial reconstruction to make herself look to the ideal of beauty at this juncture in time. So there's all sorts of possibilities.
I'm thinking
that
more
already
of it.
Exist in the
kind
dance
of
of life.
Moving in the direction of a vaccine, where if it is a gene that you can have altered and then you in turn would pass on to your children, you can essentially make something almost like a herd immunity by making sure to eliminate these troublesome genes in a generation, then it's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Or well, yeah.
Now, so the interesting thing
Dr.
about
Evil almost popped out. It's like you can create a generation that's actually immune to a certain virus, and then put that virus throughout the world, so only your progeny will exist. But we need generations before you have to make it otherwise. Because yes, if you otherwise it gets nasty.
So the interesting kicker to all this is just this week, as this conference is going on, a new update to the CRISPR-Cas9 system, which we have talked about on several occasions, which is a precision gene editing system that is currently being used by many researchers and is one of the things being discussed at this summit. One of the teams that has been working on creating this system from the Broad Institute of MIT, they have edited the editor to make it even better. And according to thescientist.com, the researchers have replaced some amino acids in the Cas9 part of the CRISPR-Cas9 system in order to help it bind more accurately, so it doesn't have as much off-target binding, and they've replaced them with alanine, which is neutral. It hindered Cas9's ability to bind off-target DNA sites without significantly affecting the correct edits, and they actually didn't really see any off-target edits in the tests that they have run. So they have made it even more of a precision tool. And while it is even more of a precision tool, I'll just put it out there that there are, we've talked before also about DIY Bio, and there is a group out of the Bay Area in California, San Francisco, California, who have an Indiegogo campaign that is currently ongoing to create DIY biohacking CRISPR kits. You can have one. You can support this Indiegogo campaign, which already has been backed at more than 100% of its goal, but it will create a CRISPR kit for you to use to edit things at home, or in your garage or wherever. Yes, so democratizing access to the tools that researchers have. This is a bacteria CRISPR genome engineering kit. So it's for editing bacteria. There's yeast, and then there's some also synthetic biology non-CRISPR based kits that they have as well. So Josiah, Odin, some really interesting people behind this Indiegogo campaign, which, I don't know, maybe we should get them on to talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But you, too, can back this DIY CRISPR kit. It's on Indiegogo if you are interested. Any more stories, everyone?
I have a quick one. Pretty interesting discovery using spider webs, specifically black widow spider webs. Scientists were actually able to extract not only DNA from the spiders themselves, but from their prey that were in the web up to 88 days earlier.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, wait, the black widow spider silk is somehow preserving DNA evidence of prey.
Yes, the sticky spider webs. They're DNA samplers. They grab on little bits of the DNA from the spider and from their prey. And so this was
goosebumps all over. I just got the shivers and the goosebumps because now, if I ever walk through a spider web, I'm gonna be like, "Ah, you took my DNA."
Yeah, so this is purely experimental in the University of Notre Dame, but they gave feeder crickets to these black widow spiders in the lab, and then they sequenced mitochondrial DNA from the web samples, identified the spider and its prey. They were completely detectable, sequenced at the same level as every time they were able to identify it down to the species level.
Wow.
That's
so
impressive.
It's impressive. It also means that we can use that for conservation research, pest management, biogeography studies, biodiversity assessments. All these things we can figure out simply from plucking some spider webs. We'll be able to identify which species have been there, which species the web belongs to, what that species is eating. We'll be able to figure out all this stuff just from webs. And webs, you guys, they're everywhere.
Oh, I know.
I love spiders. I got spiders in my house.
Mm.
Do you get the spider web in the corner, the ceiling, and the walls up there? Do you ever get those? Do you take those down? Do you take those down?
Not always. Sometimes.
I leave them. I feel like that's my last ditch effort against a mosquito or a fly that gets into my house, and I want them there. I feel like that's a service. I didn't pay it for it. I'm paying rent in the place, but you know what? That's all yours. You're providing the service. You get to exist, just like the cable and the electricity, right? You're providing a function.
There you go.
My last story. The North American deer, or the dromaeosaurids, just lost an ancient relative. They just lost the most likely ancestor that they had going back. There's an extinct three-horned paleomericid ruminant that's known as Xenocaryx amygdalae. It's found in Spain, but it's actually found everywhere from Spain to China. But this particular one that they've been working with was found in Spain. In the article, the authors classified the paleomericid to the clade based on shared characteristics with best-known species of the group and reassessed their phylogenetic position among ruminants. And no longer is this considered an ancient deer, but this is an ancient giraffe. Yes, it took them out of the paleomericids altogether and put them in the clade Giraffomorpha, the least inclusive clade, including giraffes and what's the Okapia?
Okapi?
Okapi.
Okapi. Giraffia and Okapia are its only extant survivors. So this is very interesting. Ancient relative of the giraffe, ancestor perhaps, or just distant cousin, found throughout Spain into China.
Well,
looks like a deer, so they just figured, we'll call it a deer, but nah.
Yeah, but see, that's interesting because modern-day giraffes are more like cows than deer. So that's probably how they figured this out, is by looking at the...
Talked about that.
Yeah, exactly. The kind of the gut cavern shape, but then also other elements make them think that it's more like a giraffe. But it's more of a cow than a deer, meaning ancient giraffe. Duh.
This somehow makes sense in some phylogenetic way.
You guys, it makes sense, I swear.
Phylogenies!
Yes.
And do you know what makes sense? Not really. Einstein's theory of general relativity.
No.
Totally, it's the only thing that makes sense. Everything else is
only thing that makes sense. And you know what? Happy 100th anniversary. Happy centennial to the publication of Einstein's theory of general relativity. And there is a video that you can watch on YouTube that is narrated by David Tennant. So if you're a Dr. Whovian, then you might love to listen to this and remember the good doctor as he was, because he's going to tell you all about the general theory of
Nice.
relativity and the history of Einstein's publication of it and all of the ideas, how it works. What is the theory of relativity? Go watch the video. That's all I got to say right now. It's a pretty good animated video for all y'all out there. And aside from that, I wonder how that cute little ESA spaceship is going, the LISA Pathfinder. The LISA Pathfinder, it is out there. It is 9,208 kilometers away from Earth, or is it altitude of 374 kilometers? It has a speed, or it's traveled at a distance of 9,126 kilometers. Has a speed of 7.37 kilometers per second. It's orbiting the Earth. It's out there.
Go, Lisa.
Go, Lisa. Get out there. Let's look for those gravitational waves. And I think we have done it. We have brought another show to a close.
We did it.
We did it. We done did it good, everyone. And thank you, everyone, for watching another episode of TWIS. And thank you for supporting us on Patreon. It is time to once again thank our Patreon sponsors. Thank you to Kevin Parachan, John Ratnaswamy, Steve DeBell, Jason Schneiderman, Rudy Garcia, Gerald Sorrells, Greg Guthman, Dave Neighbor, Jason Dozier, Matthew Litwin, Eric Knapp, Jason Roberts, Patrick Cohn, Shannon Tara Ginsberg, Richard Onemus, Kevin Donald, Wesley Ballard, Byron Lee, EO, Bob Calder, Jared Lysette, Ulysses Adkins, Brian Condren, Jake Jones, Trainer 84, Kati, Edvardus Rimkus, Brian Hedrick, Cassie Lester, Sarah Chavez, Stephen Sorowiak, Layla, Marshall Clark, Charlene Davidson Henry, Don Kamarechka, Larry Garcia, Randy Mazuka, Ed Dyer, Tony Steele, Dave Friedel, Daryl Lambert, Robert Aston, Artyom, Michael Perez, Shu Wada, Stephen B., Dave Wilkinson, Steve Mashinsky, Rodney Lewis, Braxton Howard, Phil Nadeau, Rick Ramus, Sal Good Sam, Matt Sutter, Emma Grenier, Philip Shane, James Dobson, Kurt Larson, Stefan Insom, Michael George, Craig Landon, Russell Jensen, Mountain Sloth, Jim DePoe, Tara Payne, Alex Wilson, Johnny Schmaloney, Jason Olds, James, Noah Wilds, Paul West, Alec Doty, Luma Lama, Joe Wheeler, Dougal Campbell, TMRO, Craig Porter, Adam Mishkan, Aaron Luthen, Marjorie, Paul Stanton, Scott Lajewski, David Simmerly, Tyler Harrison, Ben Rothig, Colombo, Ahmed, Gary Swinsberg. Thank you for all your support on Patreon. If you're interested in supporting us, you can find information at patreon.com/thisweekinscience. And remember that you can also help us out just by telling a friend about TWIS, or telling them to subscribe. Get them to subscribe. Subscribe. On next week's show, once again, we'll be back broadcasting live online at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And I do believe that, nope, not next week, but between next Wednesday and the Wednesday after that, there will be a couple of birthdays happening. So we're getting towards TWIS birthday season around here.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it is, yeah. But we will be here 8 p.m. Pacific time on twis.org/live. You can watch and join our chat room, and if you can't make it, don't worry about it. We can have our past episodes at twis.org/YouTube, or just twis.org for the audio episodes.
Yeah. Thank you for enjoying the show. We hope you enjoyed it, at least. TWIS is also available as a podcast. You can Google This Week in Science in your iTunes directory, and there we will be. Or you can look on your mobile device. If you've got an Apple-type device, you just look for This Week in Science. If you have an Android, though, you have to go to TWIS4, that's TWIS, the number 4, Droid, app in the Android marketplace. And we're also on the Apple TV, whatever that is.
For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes will be available on our website. That is www.twis.org. That's TWIS.org, where you can also make comments and start conversations with the hosts as well as other listeners.
Or you can contact us directly. Email Kirsten at thisweekinscience.com, Justin at twistminion@gmail.com, or Blair at blairbaz@twis.org. Or simply remember to put TWIS, TWIS, somewhere in the subject line. Your email will be spam filtered into oblivion. You can also contact us on the Twitter, where we are at TWIS Science, at Dr. Kiki, at Jackson Fly, and at Blair's Menagerie. We love your feedback. If there's a topic you would like us to cover or address, a suggestion for an interview, a haiku that comes to you tonight, please let us know.
We'll be back here next week, and we hope you'll join us again for more great science news.
And if you have learned anything from tonight's show, Remember,
It's all in your head.
This week in science. This week in science. This week in science. This week in science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth. And I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got one disclaimer and it shouldn't be news. That what I say may not represent your views. But I've done the calculations and I've got a plan. If you listen to the science, you may just better understand that we're not trying to threaten your philosophy. We're just trying to save the world from jeopardy. Jeopardy. And This Week in Science is coming your way. So everybody listen to everything we say. And if you use our method instead of rolling a die, we may rid the world of toxoplasma gondii. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got a laundry list of items I want to address. From stopping global hunger to dredging Loch Ness. I'm trying to promote more rational thought. And I'll try to answer any question you've got. But how can I ever see the changes I seek when I can only set up shop 1 hour a week? This Week in Science is coming your way. You better just listen to what we say. And if you learned anything from the words that we've said, then please just remember it's all in your head. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in 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 Science.
Hello, everyone. It's time for post-show.
Hooray.
Post-show. So I'm counting down the hours until I get incredibly sick.
Why?
Can you see? My eyes are already red. They're already red. But my son has had snot pouring from his nose. He had to stay home from school today. Yesterday I started looking at it and was like, you're getting sniffly. And then today it was like a faucet. And he was wearing a shirt and he kept rubbing his nose and the snot, and I think his shirt became just wet. Like so much stuff. It just Yeah. Hopefully I am not sick tomorrow or the next day or the weekend. I've been washing the hands, trying to do the good things. But I've been reading also Mary Roach. Mary, is she the author? Mary, what's her name? I think it's Mary whatever. But anyway, her book called Gulp, and it's all about the alimentary canal.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have one of those, or is that
Really?
a woman thing?
It's a you have an alimentary canal.
Okay.
It's all about the food from the canal that goes from the lips to the behind.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it includes both sets of lips. Anyhow, everything in between. Everything in between. But one of the parts of the book, it suggested that our saliva and our in our mouth, like there's this idea that human bites are the dirtiest kinds of bites that you can get.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, but the evidence does not support that. According to her book and the research that she did, I mean, it's a popular science book, but the studies that she referenced in the book, she says that no. Oh, the European Space Station, the Space Agency, is press briefing, and go away. No, pause. I gotta talk. Anyway, that the mouth, that we should maybe be licking more wounds. That wounds that had human saliva applied to them actually healed more quickly than those that did not, and that the bites that people that got infected were not bites, but were from fights when people's knuckles hit people's teeth, and so there's no blood flow. And so when a knuckle gets split and there's very little blood flow in the knuckle itself, that's when infections happen, because there's no blood to clean it out and keep it nice and happy and bring lots of infection fighting and scab forming things to the surface, because the circulation's not there. So, anyway, interesting stuff. Human saliva. How good is it at killing bacteria? Is our stomach really good at killing bacteria?
Yes.
I would.
Well, not very good, because
kind of
we can't eat raw
heart-wrenching,
meat.
Wouldn't you think?
There's this thing that this idea that if you're more likely to catch a cold if you touch a glass that has been touched by a sick person and then touch your eye or nose than if you drink from a glass that a sick person has spit in. So, the germs that someone sheds from the eyes and the nose, the bad germs, if they're on their hands and they touch a glass, they transfer those bad germs. And if you pick up that glass or touch it and then touch your eyes or nose, you transfer the bad germs to your respiratory system. But if that sick person spits in a cup and then you drink from that cup,
right,
you will not catch the cold.
That's crazy.
Isn't that kind of...
So does that mean I should lick everything? That just means, I should be I'm preventing you from getting sick.
I'm just going to... That's right. Lick everything in your life that you're going to touch. Clean it off with saliva.
Oh, God.
No, but that's kind of gross.
I'm disinfecting it.
Right about now, I wish I had the chat room. I don't know why the remote server was not working for us tonight.
The worst.
I'm going to see if I can get it going. Again, I've been trying throughout the evening and it hasn't worked. But no access to remote server, and I even tried it on Facebook and it didn't work. So I changed to select all images with grass. Okay, I'm not a robot. Connect Connect. Nope. Couldn't connect to remote server.
Yes, we've been chat roomless this episode.
It makes me so sad to be chat roomless. It really, I feel like without the chat room, I'm talking into a void. I like the feedback. I mean, I know we used to do it on the radio all the time, Justin, but I've gotten used to our family in the chat room. I mean, I know they're out there.
It was a little as though we didn't even really do the show. Without them there. It really is.
Not true.
It kind of feels that way to me. Like not having the family on board, being able to see the reactions and the feedback in the chat. It's part of the show for me, and it felt like we did this like a rehearsal or a canned show. Didn't feel like a live show to me.
Yeah. I don't know how to. Ben Rothick just suggested that we use WSIRC. I don't know how to use these things.
Yeah, I tried a couple things he sent me, and I was not wise enough to figure it out.
How do I find it? I don't know how to use it. So I'm in it, and it's there, and then there's a server list, and I would assume that I should find the web chat IRC. Web chat.
Beyond.
Click on web chat. How do I make that work? Web chat. IRC web chat. Okay, let's see if this works. Password. We're going to do a password. And we're going to do TWIS. It's in somewhere, but it's nothing in there. No, I don't think there's a TWIS channel. I don't know what I've done. I don't know where I am. Nope, that didn't work. So, yeah, anyway, I'm hoping that even though my son's snot is coming out his nose like crazy, that I've done an acceptable job of cleaning my hands, and even though I might have ingested some accidentally, I'm not going to get sick. I'm going to get sick. I know. I'm going to get so sick, and it's going to be miserable. Let's see. There's a Dave Friedel is giving us another option. Keyword. Kiwi IRC. Kiwi IRC. How do you find a channel? I'm so confused. Server and network. IRC. Let's see. What do we need to figure out? New York City tickets. You guys,
Yes.
We're going to New York City.
Yes. So I would be up for you to buy tickets now because I asked for time off and I received it. So I can send you the dates.
Send me the dates and I will buy the tickets.
Okay.
And I will buy because Justin wants to travel with you. Justin, knowing that you're going to do another red eye, are you okay with that?
Not really, but
Just take some Tylenol PM. That's what I do.
oh, you know what? I never thought of a narcotic angle to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get some of that help you. It's the stuff that they put in cold medicine. You can now get
codeine.
in just by itself.
Yeah.
Codeine, I don't think. I don't think they put
You can. You can just get codeine.
But I'll take some sort of
take
human
Tylenol
tranquilizer.
PM and I sleep. That, or you can just have like 4 beers right before you get on the plane.
It won't. Yeah, it won't.
Tylenol PM is great. Benadryl is also good. Benadryl and a shot of whiskey. Not like light.
Here's a funny thing. I'm allergic to Benadryl.
You are? You're one of those few people?
I'm allergic to an antihistamine, you guys.
Wow.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I've actually never taken oral Benadryl. When I was a teenager, I used topical Benadryl, and everything got very angry.
Wow.
So I'm just gonna not ever do that.
Well, I do know. I mean, it's warned when you're traveling with an infant or a young child. A lot of parents do use Benadryl to put their children to sleep on a plane if there's going to be a flight and they need to get a child sleeping. And it is warned that some kids have an adverse reaction to the Benadryl, so that instead of falling asleep and getting drowsy and falling asleep, they get hyperactive. And so I wonder if you would have been one of those hyperactive children.
No. Yeah. But here's the thing: since we're staying longer, right? Then the red eye won't be so terrible, because you can just nap most of the next day. We won't have to be like, have to see New York City. We have 30 hours to see all of New York City. Go, 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 which is what we tried to do last time. But now you can have the red eye. We'll go. We'll do early check-in or whatever. We'll nap for like 3 or 4 hours. It'll be great.
It'll be fantastic.
It's just I have to be able to work most of the day on Wednesday.
Ridiculous idea, but however, I feel as though, in remembering back the last time we did this whole red eye thing,
Yes.
that part of the induced dementia, I'll just call it that, that occurred, was because we did that and knew we had no other time to see the city.
Right, exactly. That's my
so
point.
pressed.
Yes.
Then did the show, and then then had to leave right away.
Yeah.
I think with the pressure off of having to go anywhere or see anything on day one, we can absorb sleeping and resting.
Kiki's getting really excited about something. Yes?
I'm in the chat room.
How'd you get there?
No way.
I saw a tweet from Dave Friday.
Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that tweet too. Okay. So.
And Ben Rothig also sent some.
What are you using? You're using.
Sent some.
KIW.
Yeah.
See.
I know. Hide, you guys. I'm here.
Oh.
It worked. I'm so sad I missed comments from the entire show, though. That makes me so sad. We missed comments from the whole show. I'm alive! Yes, Road Rights for Robots. Hey, you guys. Wait. I come in and Identity 4 quits? Wait, what? What? Identity 4? You quit just as I get here? What?
But, see, Justin, if we get there, if we don't do the red eye, then we have to get another night in a hotel room.
No, I dig it. I dig it for financially blah-diddy-blah reasons. We're going to do this awful thing this way. I get it.
I'm here!
You're in too! Yes!
Oh my god.
Yes!
Sweezy, see?
Makes me so excited to connect with our chat room again, you guys!
Everything got all freezy. What did you say?
Je suis dans le chat room.
Nous sommes ici. Nous sommes ici. Huzzah! Exactly.
What language do they speak in New York? What do I have to brush up on?
New York? You guys. New York. New York.
I have to practice all my swears. Is that what I have to do?
What? No.
What you talking about, eh?
Well, my experience of New York is that nobody I think who I've ever met or encountered anywhere while we were there is actually from there. No. So nobody had a New York accent. I didn't really understand how that was possible.
Well, I don't really know if there's... like there's not too much of a Manhattan accent. It's more of like there's a Brooklyn accent and there's a Bronx accent and there's like New Jersey.
Guys, huh?
Everybody in Brooklyn. I'm not going to remember that. Everybody in Brooklyn sounds like Jackie Mason to me. That's what it is.
New York.
So Kiki.
What?
Red Eye leaving on the 6th.
Yes. You're going to do that because you have to work.
Yeah.
I'm still not connectable to the chat room for some reason.
Okay. Well,
did you follow the instructions?
No, there's instructions. I just went to the chat room.
Type in kiwiirc.com.
Kiwi?
kiwiirc.com.
And then here, I'm going to put it in our chat. I'm going to put the settings in our chat.
Okay.
And then
Not asking me to try me.
you put that link in there earlier. Here, yeah, there. Try it, and then I just put the settings in the chat. You basically just need to change the channel. Give yourself a nickname and change the channel to TWIS.
Hashtag?
It's hashtag TWIS. There should be one hashtag.
Waiting.
Hashtag TWIS.
No.
So how did this come up? How come everybody else was already here?
Because they use different clients. So we've been using the web chat client, and for whatever reason that server's not working tonight. And so Ben and Dave and everyone else uses a different client to connect to the server.
What? I thought it was just, I don't get it. But we have a chat room again. Yay! Do I have to save this? Is this how we do it now?
I like this way better.
What one? What?
I like this client.
Well, it's all the same chat room. You can use whichever client you want.
Really? I do not understand how anything works.
Yeah, there are clients that you can download and have on your computer, as opposed to being web-based. There are those. There are these web-based ones. There are many.
So
Dave, that's funny. Going to Manhattan is like going to Fisherman's Wharf and saying you were in San Francisco.
I like it.
Wait,
it's kind of true.
Wharf isn't in San Francisco?
Well, it's not the real San Francisco.
Oh, whatever.
Identity for everybody's listing off their IRC clients or their dedicated clients, and then Identity 4 says, "I use telepathic powers." Of course you do. Of course you do. Good gracious. What are we doing? What are you doing? Okay, so tickets home.
Yes.
Sunday or Monday.
Sunday or Monday. I just have to be back by nighttime Monday because I work on Tuesday.
That is doable.
I have to be at work on Tuesday. So whichever is easier, cheaper, etc.
Here, let me buy tickets right now.
Ooh, that's fun.
Why don't we buy tickets right now?
Blair,
let's do this.
I guess we're going to have to bring, because we won't be staying in necessarily a hotel environment, we might have to bring bedding. Also on the outfit that we might, like sleeping bag. Maybe well, there's a chance we're going to be sleeping on the streets. And I feel like I don't want to be like without the basic.
No.
Oh, God. No, I'm bringing a sleeping bag.
I'm not. I'm going to pack a suitcase because we're going to be there for more than 2 days. I had like a book bag full of clothes. I'm going to have a rolly suitcase,
I
like
know,
a
I had
real
a small
lady.
backpack. I'm going to bring something too.
I'm going to bring like more than one pair of shoes this time.
Do I have to, I wonder if I could reserve a shopping cart. Because I feel like we might need that for our, because you don't want to carry those bags everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Yes, Ben, I will be so jet lagged at work on that Tuesday.
So you're sure, Justin, you don't want to do your own flight from Sacramento? You're gonna.
I won't get there until listen.
I know. Okay.
Not only did I not know how airports work, but I would not have left the hotel because I would have looked down the vacuous, subterranean, post-apocalyptic environment of the subway, and I would not have gotten a block away. on subways. I have wandered a couple blocks on foot, but I would not have subwayed myself. From
You were really good though. You didn't like wander off or anything last time.
No, I was afraid
you stayed
to.
with me.
No, I was out of fear. I was clinging to
At first I
Blair's
was like, is he
leg
gonna be
a kid,
distracted by something shiny and I'll just never see him again?
This is kind of how it felt like what was going on. It was really, it was overwhelming for me. I'm used to having a car. I get places with cars. I drive myself somewhere. If I take a wrong turn, who cares? I can keep driving.
The subway is so great. Like, we got from one end of Manhattan to the other in like
It's
10
a
minutes.
miracle
It
we
was
didn't
like
die.
It was
It's a
great.
miracle
Although
we didn't
my
die.
friend who lives in Brooklyn, who hopefully I'll get to stay with, she already texted me. It was literally just like I sent her the dates, and she just sent me back a whole mess of snowflakes.
She's like, it's gonna be snowy. Yeah. Just be ready.
Yeah.
And I'm a little afraid of the subway ride to Brooklyn. I've heard it's the F or the L or the whatever, the R.
That will be fun.
Okay, here we go.
I
Figuring
froze him.
out. You froze him again?
Everything is freezing. I think I'm.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I think.
You're
Freezing.
We'll be fine, Justin. Don't worry about it.
No. I believe in you, Blair. I believe in you. And that's what I'm gonna assume was gonna get us through the adventure.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Don't sweat it.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. I think we should try to send out one of those like Facebook posts, email posts if we have contacts, and be like, "Hey,
Hello, everybody.
we're gonna be in town for a little bit, so."
We can put it in the break in the next show, maybe. How long are you going to be there, Kiki?
I'm gonna stay until Sunday. Saturday.
Until
I'm leaving Saturday night.
Are you bringing the whole family again?
No, it's just me this time.
Just you. Where are you going to stay?
Yeah, maybe we can stay with you.
Can we sleep on your floor?
Yeah, I'm bringing my own sleeping bag.
Right. Yeah, I'm staying with a friend.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to... Is the friend in Manhattan?
Yes. As far as I know, I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, he lived there.
Nice. So are you gonna you're gonna stay with him the whole time?
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, because I
We'll
think
find out.
if I'm gonna stay with my friend in Brooklyn, I think it'll still make sense to have a hotel room on that first night, the night of the show.
Absolutely.
Just because it's gonna be so hard.
Because we want to walk from wherever we're going to.
Yes. Yes. So I like that.
Yeah.
We'll do it like
Right.
last year.
What days are we going to be homeless? Are we currently homeless? Not that we will be, but what days are we currently homeless?
Every night but the 7th, so the 8th, 9th, and potentially 10th.
All right. I may have somebody on the north side.
Great.
So let me try that.
Great. My friend in Brooklyn will know within the next... She said when she comes home for the holidays, she'll be able to figure it out if she's going to be around or not. So...
Virgin America is surprisingly expensive. We're not going to do you. Goodbye, Virgin America. No, thank you. So, now, let's see. We have either JetBlue or Delta. JetBlue is the most affordable. It's a 9:10 p.m. flight, getting in at 5:30 in the morning.
Cool.
And then there is Delta, which is slightly more expensive, leaving at 9:48 p.m., getting in at 6:19 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Preferences?
Wait, the two options are JetBlue and Delta. They're both very good airplanes. They're both direct, or airlines.
They're both nonstop. Yeah.
Doesn't really matter to me at all.
Right.
They're both good. JetBlue's cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, they have TV on the airplane. Delta,
Okay.
I think you have to pay for.
Then there we go. JetBlue
And
it is.
JetBlue has snacks, and Delta doesn't always have snacks. I've traveled enough to learn these things.
You're like, I know these things. JetBlue.
Virgin's like the best.
Yeah, Virgin's the best. It's their overnight red eye, though, is surprisingly expensive.
Yeah, don't do that then.
Yeah. Okay. Return flight. Okay, so Wednesday, January 6th, we have a JetBlue flight. Doo-doo-doo!
So what night's the show? The 7th?
Yeah.
The 7th.
So we'll have nap time before the show.
Yeah.
Till
DJ nap
the
time. We'll get you a hotel where we can
Till
check
the-
in,
where-
have early check-in.
Yeah.
Till
Early
the-
check-in would be ideal.
okay, but till the we're there 7th till the
Till Sunday or Monday. So I think that's the 10th or the 11th.
Yeah,
Which
10th or
Kiki's looking at
11th.
right
I'm
now.
looking at it, yeah. Working it out.
Yeah. So
Lower East
we're
Manhattan
leaving.
still?
We're leaving on the 10th or the 11th. Yes. Somebody
Yeah,
said
it's
Southwest. That's
It's
why.
Lower East Side still, yes.
Yay.
I don't know how to
Yeah.
spell Manhattan. How's that?
Ta-ta-ta-ta.
M-A-N-H-A-T-T-E-N?
Is it the same theater, or are we in a different theater?
I think we're in a different theater. I think it's going to be a bigger theater. He wanted to,
How the hell do you spell Manhattan? How is this?
yeah, it's like, yeah. I'm like, ah! But he wanted, he thinks that the Wi-Fi will be better at this other theater.
Oh, with an A.
Oh, okay.
That's why I don't know how to do things.
Yeah. So let's see. So it's either 8:00 p.m. on Sunday night, or
Show's on the 7th. About
oh
what
wait,
time?
no, sorry, that's Tuesday. Never mind.
Show is on the 7th.
Yes.
The show's
At
on the
what time?
7th. 10 p.m. Eastern time. It's very late.
Mm-hmm.
10 p.m. Eastern time. So you have either 8:00 p.m. on Monday that will get you in at 11:40 p.m. Is that
On Monday?
Monday night, is that acceptable, or do you want something earlier?
Is it a huge price difference if it's earlier? Earlier would be better.
I'm checking. Or actually, or Sunday night, 9:20 p.m.
Arrival?
Get you in at about 1 in the morning. But then you'll have all day Monday.
Right.
Or let's see. You'll have all the options. So many options.
Mm-hmm.
The most expensive, but likely the one you like the best,
Yeah.
is well, actually, yeah, the one you'll probably like the best is there's an 11 a.m. There are two, 11 a.m. or a 4 p.m. on Monday, leaving JFK. 11 a.m. will get you home at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
The 4 p.m. will get you in at 7:45.
Yeah.
In the
Both of
evening.
those sound better, but whatever you need. I mean,
It's like a matter. I think it's a matter of like $100 difference over.
yeah, whatever. I'll make it work if it has to be one of the other ones.
What would you prefer, 11 a.m. or 4 p.m.?
When would I get in? I'd get in at
Either 2:30 p.m. or 7:45 p.m.
probably the 2:30 p.m.
2:30 p.m. it is. We have chosen our returning flight. Huzzah. Yeah, Dave Friedel, not Yankee Stadium.
Madison Square Garden is identity force.
So, yeah, CR1, we are off.
Garden again?
Off.
I feel like we've already done the garden.
Yeah, I mean, you've done it once, you've done it, right?
I feel like we need a bigger venue. How many people can you fit in a Times Square? Can we take over the Jumbotron just for anywhere
Oh my
between
God,
an
that would
hour
be-
to 3 hours?
Sweet.
Right? Well, can we set up a little table in front, like down at ground level, but then the Jumbotron?
No, this is a call to arms for our TWIS minions. Who is a good enough hacker to
Wait,
hack
stop.
into
Stop.
the
You're
Jumbotron?
breaking laws. You're breaking laws. Call to action, commit a crime, technological cyber thingamadilly. No. But if you can, it would be really great.
Oh, JetBlue, I thought I already picked my flights. What have you done?
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Hang on. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Okay. Let's see. Nonstop flights. 2 travelers. Dudes. Okay, let's see. There we go. What's the difference between blue and blue plus?
Blue Plus is probably their like frequent flyer program, or oh no, maybe it's extra leg room.
Wait. Okay, you can have checked. So you can have 1 checked bag with blue plus.
Meh.
You don't.
I'm
need
probably
check.
gonna carry on because we're gonna be on subways and stuff. I don't want a big bag.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all the same. Everything else is the same. Basically, it allows you a checked bag if you want a checked bag. So.
And it's extra money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we don't need that.
Okay, and then you want Monday, January 11th at 11 p.m. Dun, dun, dun.
At 11 p.m.
11 a.m. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
There we go. I think I got it. Yeah, that was the one. Those are the flights. Okay, why did they do that to me? Okay, that's the taxes. Okay, I'm buying tickets now.
Oh, I'm so excited. I actually am, though. I'm really excited.
No bags to check. Yay, we're going to New York.
Yes.
Subways, arrgh.
Oh, I love them.
Yeah.
They're
And
just cold and stinky.
I love subways too. And you guys, because you're traveling together, it's price effective to do a cab also.
That's also true.
So, or
Yeah.
an Uber.
Okay, so we're flying.
Traveler number 1, Miss.
Yes. I am a miss.
Oh, you need to text me or send me.
What? Passport? Or what?
Do you have any special requests?
Do
you have a JetBlue frequent flyer?
No, I don't.
I need your date of birth, which I know is December
12.
12th. If you want to text me the year.
No, it's 86. It's fine.
86. And let's see, I need, if you can, or in our chat, our private chat here, if you can give me your address. But wait, do I have your address?
Oh, I need the address that's on my ID, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, here, I'll put it in chat.
Yeah. Awesome. And then I will, yeah, I think that's it. I just need your birth date and your address and your phone number. So, Justin?
Wait, did that just show up where is that going out live?
No.
Yeah, I think it is.
No.
I'm seeing a thought bubble. I did the thought bubble.
Hey, chat room, could you guys see my thought bubbles? No, I don't think it goes out.
It's supposed to be private.
Oh, supposed to be.
We'll see what the chat room says.
It only goes for us.
Yeah, thinking. I don't know. Well. Oh, well, no reaction from the chat room, so I suppose all this personal information was.
I mean, if anyone wants to, send me presents.
Yeah, so let's see.
They're more than welcome.
Blair's info for sale. Oh, they got it. Yeah, they did get it. Yeah.
They did?
Yeah.
No frequent flyer. Traveler number.
It didn't go out.
Right.
It did. Yeah, they're all chatting about it now. Yeah, see that they're also asking for the social security and driver's license number. You left those out.
Okay.
No. Justin, I need your address.
I'm going to send it to you in a private email.
Okay. Was that not private?
No, Ben. No, it was totally private.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you need? Address, What
Vinny
information?
Fonde. I need your date of birth and your address. It's on your ID.
Can I lie?
What?
Never mind. My what is else address? Oh, that's on the ID?
Email.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I don't know.
December 11th,
11th.
1970.
Um,
What year were you born? You're older
but
than me.
but I'm older than everybody.
I know. I need
No.
you. No, you're not. But I
That's
need to know
not
your.
possible.
I need to know your date of birth,
I sent it
man.
via the emails.
All right.
Let's see. What else? I don't know what. See, this is troubling. I don't know what. Hang on. Let me go see if I've got.
I know.
Yeah, you should just
I
go
need
look
your-
at your ID.
I need your address and your phone number. But I have your phone number. I can just check my. Let's see. Oh wait, no. I don't need his address. Never mind.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, because Blair, you are the primary traveler.
Oh.
Traveler number 2.
Oh my goodness. Wise choice.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta update this. This isn't right, but I'll put it in here.
You don't. She doesn't need your address because
I
I'm
actually
the
don't need it.
primary traveler.
I don't need it.
Oh, sweet. And so, do you need anything else?
No. Do you guys have? Who do you want for your emergency contact? Me?
Blair. Because if I'm into trouble, she's the closest one that can help me.
Yeah, I guess you.
And then I can find ways to get in touch with people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And that we're done with that. Okay. Good. Continue.
Nice.
Stretch out. Peace out, man. We're doing this.
What else is important?
I'm gonna double check something. Hold on.
Let's see, which are the currently selected seats? Do we have 2 seats
Oh,
together?
but can we really try to get that Justin Farrell guy? I really am so interested in this this thing he did.
Okay. Do you guys want aisle or window?
Window for me. I love the window. I stare at the window. We're doing at night again, which means I won't be able to see anything. But I still love the window.
On the way back, you'll be able to see everything.
Yeah, I love the
During
window.
the day.
I'm a big fan of windows.
Oh, you're getting the window seat? Okay.
Well, we can swap. I mean,
Can I have the window seat on the way there because I sleep better on the window seat, and then he can have the window seat on the way back so he can watch everything?
Okay, that's fair.
Sure.
Great. I sleep better because then I can lean against the window, and I don't have to be 100% upright. My hat doesn't fit with the headphones.
No, that's
Bum,
18.
ba-da-da, da-da-da.
Dun, 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 dun,
No, you have to
dun,
stop.
dun.
We'll be taken off the air.
Oh.
But look,
Nice.
there he is.
That's totally awesomeness.
Do you want to be on the way home? Do you care where you are? Like, even with the wing, more toward the tail of the plane?
Not even with the wing, because then there's nothing you can see, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put you toward kind of in the middle of toward the back.
Great.
Because it's safer in the back of the plane anyway.
Is
Yes.
it?
Yes, it is. Although being in the very last row means you can't recline at all, which is super frustrating.
You're not in the very last row.
Yeah.
We
I
got
found that out the
seats.
hard way, too. Never sit in the very last row. You can't recline.
Ah, but that's where they have the
Oh.
smoking section now, so it's over.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've flown. I don't know.
Yeah. That's also where they have the Gabby flight attendants is all the way in the back.
Gabby flight attendants.
Love you guys. Thanks. I look forward to your excellent service.
They're all watching right now.
Yeah.
Speed, security, time with your pets, rental car, hotel. No, I'm just going to book that separately. We're going to just continue here. Continue past the offers. There's always the offers. Value add, everyone. Travel protection. Is that useful?
What is it for?
Get reimbursed up to 100% of non-refundable prepaid trip costs due to covered injury, illness, or other covered reasons.
Meh.
150% trip interruption protection of ticket costs, travel delay protection, protection for existing medical conditions.
How much is that?
$24.45 per traveler.
I don't know. That seems like unnecessary, right? I mean, the only thing is that it might snow us in.
Right.
And then that would be a problem.
What happens then? You just get booked on a later flight?
Yeah, so I'm guessing that
you don't lose the money that you paid. You just get
right.
Right?
I'm thinking that paying for the insurance or the travel protection or whatever means that then if you want to switch to another carrier to still get home, you get your money back.
You get your money.
Like that.
Yeah.
But it's fine. I'll just be stuck.
Okay. Awesome.
I don't know. Do you usually get it? I never get it. I never get travel.
I love the way they do it. They're like, yes, it says, yes, add travel protection for $24.45 per traveler in this reservation. Or, no, I choose not to protect my X number of dollars purchase and understand I am responsible.
No, I am a simpleton.
For all non-refundable expenses. Okay, I clicked it. Why is there a blue circle of doom spinning? Come on, people. I mean, web servers. Okay, 9:10 p.m., 5:30 a.m., get in, 11 a.m., 2:31 p.m. We've got Wednesday, January 6th, Monday, January 11th. And we've got the airport. Got both of you booked. You have seats, no checked bags, so you got to have carry-on. And that's the total. So I'm going to pay it. There we go.
Wait.
What?
Oh, never mind. When are we coming back? Are we sleeping there on the 10th? Staying till the 11th?
Yes. Leaving the 11th.
Okay.
In the morning.
In the morning. Good. No. Mailing address. No, this is mine. There we go. Is there anything else? What else do we need to talk about? Oh, if anybody wants to help us out with figuring out our year-end show, we're going to start taking recommendations for the big stories of 2015. If anybody's up for that.
Yeah, so we have one more normal show in the year. That's it, right? And then we have, or am I skipping one?
We have one next week, and then we have
more normal shows.
2 more normal shows. One of those, 2 more normal shows.
Then we have our prediction, or then we have our best of
year in review. Year in review, yeah.
Which will be on Tuesday the 22nd.
Yeah.
Then on Wednesday the 30th, we are having our predictions.
Yes. Our New Year's show is predictions.
So is that the recap also show? Or is it recap?
No, the recap show is on the 22nd.
22nd?
A Tuesday.
A Tuesday, if you will. Oh, that'll be fun.
Yes.
And then the next show is on the 30th.
30th.
And that is the
predictions.
Show.
Yes.
And then we're going to have a show in between the prediction show and going to New York, which is going to be like a B-side show. Don't even tune into that one.
No, we won't have that show. You and I will be in the air.
Oh, that's that next... Oh, it'll happen right away.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh,
so
boy.
we're not having a show on the 6th is the one after that.
Gotcha.
So we're having the show on the 7th instead.
Aha.
What? So we just went through this whole thing, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm not going to book your flight.
Oh,
Why? Oh, why? What is wrong with you? Yeah. Should I try? I will pay through PayPal instead of using a credit card.
Oh, Hot Rod says the idea of waiting for a few seconds before starting isn't to be silent. Exactly the opposite. You're supposed to talk with each other so we can get everything set up, like volume settings and video recording, etc. Oh, interesting. Okay, I can handle that. I got that covered, Hot Rod. I can blither like no other.
You can.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. I've read fare restrictions. I agree. Can I buy this? Will you let me buy this? Why, JetBlue? Why? Why did you do this to me? This is weird. I went through the whole thing, and now it's like, nope, sorry. Sorry. Oh well, I will try again. Did somebody else buy our tickets? Is that what happened?
Maybe.
While I was buying it, somebody bought it. Oh, that's wrong. Weird. Do I have to start over? Oh, well, I have your information. I can start over and do it. Quietly.
Mm-hmm.
Haha. That's right. Okay, so multivitamin. Yeah, I should take some zinc or something.
Oh, good gosh.
Hot
Ben.
Rod's telling me, we're supposed to talk.
That was my whole point of me being blithery. I'm going to start talking a lot at the beginning of the show. Like, you'd be like, okay, we're starting. Okay, in that case, blah, 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 blah.
Spotted dog jumped over the log, and the fox.
So really,
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog.
I know, we've never
What
had
did
a
the
normal
slow brown
show.
fox do?
So really what everybody wants is for us to
Part of the
start
dog.
the show early, but not really start it, just while
Yeah.
we're getting ready for the show and doing our normal pre-show stuff.
And they'll figure out, like, okay, they're actually starting.
To
You know, there's
watch the
some button.
to watch the pre-show stuff, and then we'll go, okay, it's time to start, and then we'll do the start.
Okay.
Would that be interesting? Would that? I don't know what that would do for.
Yeah, like then our YouTube videos would start kind of
Suffer.
weird.
Yeah,
But you know what?
but
This is a live podcast. So again, this is this ongoing conversation about what is or what is not interesting when you're watching a podcast. Part of what I enjoy, as we had somebody email into us in a very lengthy expose of what it is they like about their podcast, and I kind of agreed with the person, which is there is an element of the show that we're doing, which is the show that we're doing, and we want that to be as professional as possible. But there's another element, like how we missed our family today because our chat room was down and we couldn't have that participation.
so sad.
Yeah, but having talking about the crazy stuff my kids have done, or Blair talking about having worked with this and that, and the side talk, the backstory stuff, all that's part of. I don't want to call it like necessarily like cult of personality stuff. I don't think it's that. I think it's more
Part of
like,
the community.
It's the community thing. It's the intimate thing. It's like here we understand they're going to be putting on a show, and we're backstage for the first 30 seconds, and then the show starts, and we're part of going from being in the green room with the show as we try to get things going with our technical difficulties and our okay, is this mic on? Tap the mic. Like all that can be part of the show, and it won't negatively affect the show. That's part of what people I think I enjoy when I'm watching other shows. if you watch shows, especially radio shows, and I don't think this goes on with TV shows at all. TV shows, this doesn't happen because they're all glossy packaged. But if you listen to radio, some of the biggest, longest running conversations sometimes within a radio show is how the radio show is being affected by management, right? Or how the radio show's technical problems. The podcast had this technical problem. Here's how we worked it out. Here's what's been going on behind the scenes, which is how come we didn't have a show for this week? Well, I took this trip. It was this reunion thing. Here's what happened. Like, it's backstory stuff. It's side story stuff. That can be part of what we do because it is part of what we do. Because we have a much more, with this chat room that's live and involved with us, with the fact that we're not pre-recorded, we're a live show, there's a lot more intimacy involved with that. And intimacy is sort of, you get the warts and all. You get us complaining that our Google Hangout lower third isn't working, and we have no idea why, because we didn't change a single setting, and all of a sudden it doesn't work. And now it's working. Okay, I don't know why that happened. Now I have a lower third. Like, that's part of our show.
All the time.
That's part of our show, right? Yeah. It's not part of every show. It's not part of what CNN does. You'll never hear Wolf Blitzer going like, "Where's my infographic? I was supposed to have an infographic. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Chuck missed the infographic for this story. We're supposed to be a glass. Okay, there it is. Can we do the story now?" You won't see that because it's not allowed. It's not part of their presentation. Our audience is directly funding us, and they're also directly hearing us gripe and being part of our celebration when a show goes off without a technical difficulty. So, I think it's fine. And amazingly, my answer to this was longer than I think the question. I don't actually know if there was a question.
Oh, math. Bastards. The bastards. Let's see, Sunday, no. 124, 169, same price. I'm shaking my fist at JetBlue.
Boo.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, I think getting science from here is funnier. I think it's also...
He said funner. It's very different.
Funner.
Funnier? Funner. Whatever, same thing. Same thing. I think it means the same thing. Anyway, my point is, I would listen to this show. This is the thing I love about this show, is that if I wasn't doing this show, this is the show I would listen to. I would love listening to this show. I kind of wish this show existed so I could listen to it before I put my show together, so I could steal from it.
Right.
That would be fantastic. But there's not enough versions of what we do. I don't think there's really even a close correlation, especially because we've really stuck to this, as free-formed and speculative or as rambly as we can get. We stick to one really, really tight discipline, which is that we do the show. We do stories that are just breaking. We do stuff that's just new, and it always sort of amuses and amazes me, but kind of I get what we're doing has its own special niche. When I see a story that we covered on the show 3 months later, being a front page newspaper magazine story, like, yeah, I'll hear it on Science Friday. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this story. We actually talked about this a month ago. This is I remember this. I already know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that what we're doing is as breaking news in an audio format as exists on planet Earth, I'm exceedingly proud of that. And I think we did some math because of the sheer volume of stories we bring and the amount of time we've been doing this. There may be nobody on this planet who has brought more science stories to the public than Kiki. There may not be another individual.
Certainly possible.
Yeah.
There may not be another individual on the planet who has in an audio format. If I can give it one asterisk,
Qualifier, yeah.
you know, somebody might be copy and pasting to a news bulletin board somewhere.
Right.
I don't think there's anybody who's brought more science news stories. You could say the Ira Flato, who's been on a decade longer than us, but typically 2 or 3 stories get covered.
Okay.
Not usually more than that. Kiki usually brings 6, if not more.
I'm like, here's more stories. Yeah. Don't you want more?
So half the time, but twice the volume, and I have a feeling throwing a couple of let those blurbs count. You know, right? That she used to do a full blurbity rundown. We'd do the whole show, and then the last couple minutes of the show, there would be like 10 more blurbs of things that had happened this week that you should just sort of be aware of in your ether mind that this is happening and existing in science. I kind of missed that part, actually, because that was always like, we're just going to, it's sort of like bullet point headlines. Here's 10 things that happened this week in 30 seconds. Just so you know that there's much more than we could fit into an hour show. Now we've got the longer format. We actually talk about probably
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like that's my intention with my end of the show stories. And then it's something that the headline isn't good enough. Like saying that you could extract DNA from prey from a black widow spider web.
I get it.
Like, yeah, I would love to just end it there, but then I get all excited and I'm like, I have to explain it for 2 more sentences. It needs more.
I've got to give you more. So I had an idea of something that we could do that I don't know if it would work well or not. I don't know.
Let's try it.
Yeah.
You don't know what it is yet, Justin.
Well,
no.
This is how you find out if an idea works, right? Like, it doesn't matter what the idea is. If you don't know if it'll work or not, the only way you will find out is by trying it.
Okay, what is it?
No, who cares? We're doing it.
So the let's see. I'm sorry, I'm paying right now. Payment is going through finally. Okay, so I'm going to continue pay. The idea is that we could, you know how we write the headlines and the summary in the show notes?
I never put the summary in. I apologize in advance. Or
after. just apologize.
Yeah, you just plain apologize.
Plain old apologize.
Just plain apologize. I never seem to do that.
Come on, you can do it.
Put the link, title.
Yeah,
summary.
but so we've got the headline and the summary, and so it's a quick blurby thing, and I was thinking it could be something that we could record right before we start the real show. So it would just be like, it would be a mini TWIS, and then I can take the mini TWIS, and we've already got like the contents basically right there. Yeah. And we just run through it. Just the mini blurbs, and so then people can listen to or watch, you know, they'll get the stories, they'll know the summary of it, and like, bam. But then we get to the show, and then we just do the show as normal.
I like it.
And so then we can send out the mini TWIS as kind of, I can make it into like a shorter video, so I can cut out that segment
like a teaser.
And it would be a teaser, yes.
Yeah. And we could have a separate podcast feed of the mini TWISs if we wanted to.
Oh, thank God. The tickets worked. You have tickets.
So
I hope I did it right.
All right. I have noticed a categorization thing is possible on the YouTubes.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah?
For instance, a show that I never have time to watch in its entirety is whatever the Bill Maher show is now. I don't even know what
Real
it's called.
Time.
Real Time with Bill Maher. It has a segment in it, which is like a minute segment within each show or each series of shows, which is called New Rule.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, new rules.
Freaking brilliant. Freaking brilliant. Love Bill Maher. But there is, when you go to YouTube, it's the Bill Maher show, it's the Real Time with Bill Maher, Overtime with Bill Maher, which is like after they've already done the show, and they stick. It's like their after show.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a segment where you can just go and listen to.
Robots.
You can just listen to all of the new rules. So what I'm picturing here is we could, with a little bit of clever editing, or tedious editing actually is what it is required, you could have a disclaimer section where it just plays disclaimer after disclaimer after disclaimer after disclaimer. You could have a Blair's Animal Corner section where it just plays Blair's Animal Corners, right? You could have the mini TWIS could be a section.
I don't know how to do that.
I don't either, but I've seen it on enough different podcasts that I know this is something within.
So, like, in podcasts or on YouTube?
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Because podcast television shows, whatever it is.
Feed.
No, YouTube feed. It's in YouTube.
Oh, well, he does it in his podcast feed also.
Okay, so I'm seeing all of this on YouTube. This is where I'm seeing this. So you go to Bill Maher, right, which takes you to the Real Time with Bill Maher.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're on that YouTube page, and within that YouTube page, you have playlists basically built. One is just the Real Time. One is just interviews. One is just Overtime. One is just New Rule. So our version of that might look like, Kiki, which is doing your top stories for that week, right? One might just be disclaimer, which is just doing the disclaimers.
Oh, yeah, I've got it. I got it. So the thing is, it's the editing.
It's the editing, right? But this, if you're talking about shortening, segmentizing, I think we've already got it. And so instead of coming up with new things that we do separately, I think it's already there. And I think it would take less time to edit them than it would to actually produce them and create them as separate segments. And
can I devil's advocate this though?
And hang on a second. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Well, I'm almost done. I will finish my thought grammatically as best I can.
Yes, salty hash.
And say, like, for instance, the disclaimer segment. If somebody wanted to go through and just listen to disclaimers, these are all a minute to 2 minutes long, or whatever they are, or half a minute. I don't even know how long they are. And in terms of hits, views, those things that the YouTubes like to see to create the ad revenue or whatever it is, that could be a whole separate show that gets as many views as the long show would have gotten, maybe more because they're easier to access. Blair's Animal Corners could be a whole show unto itself. Top stories from Kiki, whole show within itself. And all it requires is, some editing, but I think probably in the big scope of things, not as much as we think. For creating what, at least in the YouTube viewer eyes, are 4 or 5 different shows. Because I found, like, I went through New Rule. I go every once in a while. I go again. Actually, I've viewed it multiple times, the run of New Rule, just because they're concise, with decombobulated brilliance. They're just so good that stands alone. Forget the whole rest of the show. Much of the rest of the show I might have liked, might have not liked. I don't care. Just give me that one condensed bit of brilliance. Boom, 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 one after the other. And I watched that. And so I think we don't have to necessarily create another version where we do the show before we do the show and then do another thing of the show. I think it's just maybe we go to the Minion core and find somebody who can stomach doing a segment at a time of editing for one of these.
I think I will try it this week or next week and see how long it takes.
Yeah. The thing about what
No
Kiki
reason why
suggests
not.
that I like, though, and I think that we could maybe try it a couple times and just see what happens, is I think that in the end it would be, 5 minutes long?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that long. It wouldn't be that much of an effort to just read something that you're already creating, or in Justin's case, just making him actually write out summaries. And then the thing that I like about it is it makes you gather your thoughts a little bit better before you then talk about each story, because you've said the summary that you've created. So it kind of puts you in the encapsulated mindset. Like, for me personally, I think it would help with that. It also helps because it makes you start percolating on all the other stuff coming later. It's all kind of happening back here before you then start the show.
Here's why I don't like it.
Which I do anyway with my eyes, but I don't do it with my mouth. And it's different when you're saying something. For me, definitely, my brain works a little bit differently when I'm talking about it.
I talk to myself while I write, so I don't have that problem. But here's why I actually don't like that to a degree. And it used to be an argument I would have with Kiki about talking about the stories or even doing show notes.
Right.
And show notes haven't seemed to affect it too much because I put them in at the last second.
Right.
I haven't had time to read your stories other than notice if they're, overlapping what I have brought, and therefore finding something else to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things I really enjoy about doing this show with you two is the story that you bring and me not knowing anything about it, and the real-time me getting to experience it, or the real-time you hearing the story that I'm telling, and I feel like there's an intangible, perhaps, but still very viscerally real aspect of the show that could get lost if I actually know the ultimate outcome of all of your stories, or if I know the trajectory. If I know that the bird story from a couple weeks ago is going to end in, it's because they don't compete that the whites don't have to. I like that part of the show where we kind of get to guess, that we get to be a listener. I get to be a listener for 2/3 of the show and be an active listener to, well, sometimes I'm less active of a listener than other times. But that I get to be an audience member for some of the stories. I'm a little bit intimidated by what our show would look like if we did this 5-minute thing before where it did all the reveals and we understood what the other person was going to talk about. Then do I even need to ask a question? Do I get led by the story in one direction and over-speculate and then have to... And no, I wouldn't. I already know the outcome. I know the ending of the story before I go into it, and I don't know if I would enjoy listening to your stories as much if I already knew the outcome. So that's my more than 2 cents. That was like $1.50.
To circle back to what you said at the beginning of this conversation,
you remember that long ago? My God, I have no idea when it started.
Remember when you said, "Oh, Kiki has an idea. Let's just do it and see how it works"?
Yes, let's do that. What was that idea? I don't remember anymore.
You talked out of it.
Yes, you just were talking about why it was a bad idea this whole time.
Oh, yeah. No, I wasn't saying it was a bad idea. I feel like I just came home too late and needed to keep talking long enough for the subject to be changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, dear.
Well, we could always do it after then, if that's really the issue, if you want the surprise factor. But honestly, about 50% of the time, I get on early enough to research the stories that are in there that are not mine. And can you tell?
No.
That's all I'm saying.
No. Yeah. I don't. Unless I had read your story and was planning to bring it, or read it and passed on it, I haven't seen it. And that's very rare. When we used to do the show without a show notes, it was exceedingly rare that we would both have the same story printed up to talk about, showing up at the radio station, like way back machine, right? It's really rare that we overlapped much. And it still is. It still is.
Yeah,
There's
the idea of the show rundown, though, is that we put our stories up there and look to see whether or not we are bringing the same stories, and
totally not against
and
it.
that
Totally
and that
not
we
against
we
it.
prepare a little bit and get in our heads what people are going to be talking about. And,
Totally not against it.
yeah,
And it
it's the
also
idea. It
what
makes
helps
for a
with
better
lot
show.
and it helps a lot with the order of the stories too. Like then I realized like, oh, okay, tonight is heavily climate
Good luck,
change.
Wiz Mike. Have a good interview.
I'm gonna start off with something that ties into what was just done, and yeah.
Exactly. So if I see that Kiki is going to talk about the Hadron Collider, and I'm like, oh, but what's that one part of that one thing where somebody thought that it was going to blow up the universe? Let me go find that. And then, then I can say something that's informed and not me going, remember that one time that thing happened? That
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it can be useful. It can also, if you have a minute to percolate on what's going on, you might have a very insightful thing to say that you wouldn't have thought of if you didn't have some time to think about it.
Yep. That sometimes that percolation helps you work it out a little bit better. It's true. I believe these things in my heart of hearts. Women are better at faking emotion.
Totally.
Oh, there was a study. What was the study? It's people can fool you with their facial expressions, but not with tone of voice.
Oh.
Yeah. So putting on a fake happy facial expression, you can totally fool people, but your tone of voice will
give you away.
Yeah.
Unless you're an actor.
In which case, you can convince anyone of anything because you are obviously not betraying any of your own actual emotions.
Yeah. Are you guys watching Jane the Virgin at all?
No.
Oh my! It's so funny. Oh my God! It's a telenovela. It's all done in the style of the telenovelas, and it's like they've got a narrator who's talking about Jane, and he's in this part of Jane's life. This is what is happening, and the characters are so great. I love it.
With a narrator, that's a little scary.
The whole thing's narrated. It's awesome.
You know what? Narration actually bugs me now because I watched this. I watched this TED talk about this woman who had this sort of rare but existing condition where she hears narration in her head of her own life.
Oh dear.
Like compulsively beyond control, like not like.
That's taking an inner monologue to a whole new level.
No, it is. It is because it's not. Wow. Apparently, it's not her voice. It'd be like.
Then she picked up the brush.
Yeah, sort of like that. It's like it could be like, and then she was like, and then sometimes it would get like mean and sort of mocking, and it, like, oh god, just terrifying idea. But it reminds me also of that Will Ferrell movie where the narrator is the author.
Yeah,
and is
Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I saw that on a bus.
That also on a bus? They have TV on a bus? Oh, well, yeah.
You know the charter buses that have the TVs.
No, I don't.
So my big thumbs up for Netflix productions these days. Jane the Virgin is what I'm watching currently. What was the one? Sense8, very good. iZombie.
Oh, I'll be right back.
I just finished BoJack Horseman season 2.
Oh, BoJack Horseman. Yes. I kind of couldn't get into it.
I liked it for a few reasons. One of them is that the people that are animals act like those animals.
I know.
Like the person whoever decided to do it definitely was like, oh, you know, it's a lot more complicated than this, but that's the sloths are slow. So this guy is a sloth, so he's going to walk really slow. Very they're kind of subtle.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look for it, they're all in there. Like,
it's awesome.
It's definitely, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I watched a few episodes. I thought it was good, but then I was like, I'm gonna go watch something else, and then I really got in. Then I got into Jane the Virgin.
Nice.
Really enjoying it. The next one that I'm gonna try is The Man in the High Castle. I've gotten good recommendations for that one, but I have not tried it yet. Yeah, good TV. And I'm waiting. Another friend of mine told me I should watch Predestination. It's a movie. He said it's really good.
Oh, that's,
So that's the next
horror movie.
Yeah, it's the next movie on my list. Predestination.
It's like You're Next, but it came first.
Oh, really?
It's like that, I think.
I don't like movies like that.
Yeah, I think Predestination is like your death has already been picked out for you, and
Oh, I'm not a big fan of horror death type movies.
maybe I'm getting confused. Now I want to look.
Oh, it probably is. I don't know. And I finally got around to seeing what's the one with the spaceship or going into a wormhole, and then the world's ending, and Matthew McConaughey, right? What am I thinking? Interstellar. That's the one. I finally got around to seeing Interstellar. Meh. I was not impressed.
I haven't seen it.
That was a bit much. It's a bit much. Thank you. Yes. Oh, thank you.
Predestination has to do with time traveling.
Yes, time traveling. Okay. Any show that makes you laugh is good, right, Stars Nova? Yes. Yes. Gasp, spoiler. I know. Am I spoiling Interstellar for people? Hasn't everybody except for me seen it by now? That's funny. Remember when Blair ruined the end of Chappie for everyone?
I did? I don't really remember that.
Well, you ruined it for Dave, obviously.
Well,
Like,
you're not missing much.
Blair. Thanks so much.
I know.
Oh, Identity 4 hasn't seen it. Well, I haven't said anything, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Matthew McConaughey's in it and there's a wormhole. I don't think that's a spoiler. But, I mean, maybe it's a spoiler for me to go, meh, but I don't know.
Blair's spoiler corner. You guys, Bruce Willis was dead the whole time.
What? Stop now!
The prehistoric deer was a giraffe the whole time.
It was a cow.
Yeah.
Cow giraffe.
It was a stretched cow the whole time.
Stretched cow giraffe. Bovine giraffes. Hot Rod saw Interstellar 3 or 4 times. Does it get any better after the first time? Wait, you own the Blu-ray and you still haven't seen it? Identity 4. Just sit down and watch that 3-hour-long movie.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's part of the thing, is that I think Interstellar could have done everything without being so dramatic and plotting, and it just took 3 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours to tell the story, and it did not need to. It did not need to do that. And then it was basically like the asthma inhaler explanation. And if anybody understands that reference, then bravo to you. But I'm not gonna.
Identity 4, you watch special features before the movie? That seems bad. That's like eating a pizza crust first.
Yeah.
I do that.
Oh, well.
I eat pizza's crust first because sometimes I just like the crust.
Okay.
I'm a bigger fan. I'm a breadaholic.
But then how do you hold the pizza?
How do you hold the pizza? You fold it up. You roll it up, or you fold it up,
See,
or you just leave the pizza there for somebody else to deal with.
That's not eating the crust first. That's eating only the crust. And
Kinda.
I can understand that. I actually eat the crust last because it's my favorite part, so I save it for last.
Save it for last. Oh, look at you. You're kind of sweet. What did Whiskey Renegade just wrote a book? Can I understand? But love when you hear the story first, come up with the questions, love for science, but other sides, horror story, research beforehand, and answer all the questions you want to answer. Really lose the enthusiasm at some stories. I reach a really interesting question after a lot of diving in. I know it can go both ways, right? Do I fold my pizza? I do fold. I do. I fold. I pick it up and I fold it, and I eat it. Oh yeah, and then what's her name in Interstellar? The cute little pixie cut that everybody raved over her performance. What's her name? With an M.
Ooh, Dave Friedel says we have to find a pizza place in New York City that has sesame seed pizza crust. That sounds delicious.
Sounds yummy.
I could eat another 3 a.m. crab pizza.
No, that still disgusts me. What?
The problem is I don't really remember what it tasted like.
Yeah. What I love is San Francisco, the Indian pizza. So good.
Oh yeah, totally.
Anne Hathaway. Thank
So
you,
I'm
Star One.
gonna go crust first.
Crust first.
Because this is the first thing I read of On the Road.
If it's a deep dish Chicago pizza, fork and knife.
This is I think New Jersey. Actually, this is all of America. This crust. This is I opened up Jack Kerouac's On the Road and read the last paragraph first.
Why?
It was this thing I was doing where I was going to read how a book ended, like the last paragraph, and if it felt like the book came to a solid enough conclusion, I would read I would start at the beginning.
No, but see,
not a good plan for like a whodunit, right?
No, but
not a good mystery book. But
like, think about all of the literary greats. Think about Hemingway. Think about Vonnegut. Think about anybody that like deals in figurative language or metaphor or motif. You're not going to get that if you read the end first. It's going to make no sense.
No, but if you're intrigued by the last lines in an epic thing of which you describe, then it should entice you to read the first line.
Because if you read the last line of Slaughterhouse-Five, which is my favorite book of all time, and in my opinion probably the best book of all time, the last paragraph is, spoiler corner, ready? Pooty wheat?
Right. So this is right. Okay. Here's the last paragraph of On the Road. I think this is it.
Well, this is the spoiler corner.
So in America,
you guys, it's not a spoiler if a book has been out for like decades.
100 years.
Yeah.
So in America, when the sun goes down and I sit in the old broken down river pier watching the long, long skies over New Jersey and sense all that raw land that rolls in one unbelievable huge bulge over the West Coast and all that road going and all the people dreaming in the immensity of it. In Iowa, I know by now the children must be crying in the land where they let the children cry, and tonight the stars will be out. And don't you know that God is Pooh Bear? The evening star must be drooping and shedding her sparkler dims on the prairie, which is just before the coming of complete night that blesses the earth, darkens all the rivers, cups the peaks and folds the final shore in, and nobody knows what's going to happen to anybody beside the forlorn rags of growing old. I think of Dean Moriarty. I even think of old Dean Moriarty, the father we never found. I think of Dean Moriarty. That's the first part I read. I was like, what the hell is this book? What is this? And then I started the beginning and was hooked all the way through. And I think there is something to listening to an author summarize and finish a complete thought. having
Well, then you
allowed
should
it all.
report your summaries of your stories before the show
This
starts.
is what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
This is what I'm saying. This is how I've come to agreement with the plan that I've agreed with before I heard it.
That
This
you've
is how-
talked yourself out of, and now you've talked yourself back into.
Yes, absolutely.
So I got my JetBlue reservation and itinerary,
Yay!
and I emailed it to both my parents, and I wrote, "I Ken has ride." Also,
Please.
Justin Ken has parking and ride.
Oh yeah,
Good.
I have to go to that city.
Yeah.
Again.
You have to go to the
Oh wait, what
city.
time are we coming back? Because that was another adventure.
2:30 p.m. we'll be
Oh
back.
good God, thank you.
That's right, because the last time you left late in the afternoon and probably got
Left
back
late, got here really late, and then I was like, oh,
And then
I
drove.
still have hours of travel ahead of me. Oh good Lord.
It's better. It's better this time, slightly.
Yeah.
Slightly better.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go get Space Gallery.
I'm
All
really
right,
excited.
I have a day tomorrow that starts with children, then segues into a haircut and a dental procedure, and then into work.
I have work and then the
So-
zoo's holiday party.
I've got probably I should be asleep right now,
Yeah, tomorrow.
but that's tomorrow Justin's problem.
I guess
Yeah.
I have.
Tomorrow guy never does anything for yesterday guy, so why should
Oh.
today guy care what tomorrow guy has to deal with? He has never set me up for anything good, ever.
That's right.
Never does anything. Just take. That's all tomorrow guy ever does.
Today
if I work
guy
hard
has to.
today, if I
Today
work
guy
hard,
has to worry about yesterday guy.
yeah. Oh no, I can't even worry
Tomorrow
about it.
guy is
Today
always
guy is
upset
Nothing
about
I can
today
do about
guy.
it. Force
Yeah.
nature yesterday.
Today guy's always cleaning up yesterday's mess.
Yeah.
Yesterday guy.
Talk about somebody who
Always.
never helps you out, right? And then I'm gonna go and work. I'm gonna go work. I'm gonna spend my time as today guy working. Guess who's gonna spend that money? All of it. Tomorrow guy. Yeah. As though the money just appeared in the bank account, right? Magically. Tomorrow guy's gonna be like, oh look, I got some money. I'm gonna spend it. Never mind the hard work I put into it. Oh, but then again, the work I do almost doesn't matter with the debt that yesterday guy put on me. He has caused me. He put me in debt to the point where even the work I do today, I don't get anything from it. I just got to work to pay for yesterday's guy's stuff. And then
You know
tomorrow
what?
day guy, he's gonna spend even more. So you know what? I'll stay up as late as I want. Thank you very much. Tomorrow guy can't tell me what to do.
And on that note, today Kiki is tired. I've been yawning. I'm tired.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm gonna get sick. Can you see it? Can you
No,
see
you're
it?
not.
I'm gonna get sick. Okay. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna get sick. I'm gonna be
Mm-mm.
healthy, healthy,
Healthy, healthy, healthy.
healthy, healthy, healthy.
Healthy,
Yes,
healthy.
we had someone in the chat room called Tardigrade. Tardigrade. Awesome.
I know.
Love
We
that.
had no idea until they left.
Bye, Tardigrade. Identity
Yeah.
Ford. Go get drunk at work tomorrow. Sounds awesome.
Oh, tardigrade. That's what I couldn't remember the other day. I was trying to tell somebody about the creature that has DNA from all sorts of other creatures and things. and
Tardigrades.
stuff.
Yes.
I
Tardigrade.
could not remember
Tardigrade water bear.
the water bear. Could not remember it. It was totally lost. The more you know.
Yep.
Ba, ba, ba.
Ba, ba, ba. Okay. You guys, it's late where you are, chat room people, most of you, everyone else. It's getting later here, not as late as where most people in the chat room are. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you for staying with us, even though we couldn't be part of the chat room for most of the time for whatever reason.
We've
Technical
solved it.
difficulties, but it's solved now. It's fantastic. Thanks for helping out and sending information to us via the Twitters so that we could get connected to you all. And because it just is so much nicer to be able to read the things that you guys have to say. It just adds so much to our experience of doing the show. Totally. Totes. Okay. Yes, I'm going to need coffee tomorrow too, Ben. See you guys next week. We will be back. Tell your friends to buy calendars.
Yes.
We've got some still. I sent out one mailing. if people want to buy them before, I don't know, Monday is probably the latest day that someone could buy it, but probably Friday is the best day, December 4th, or over the weekend, because I can mail them Monday. Monday the 7th is probably the last date for me to mail them, to get them to you before Christmas.
Yeah.
If that's what is important. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Just order it, and I will mail it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it was Giving Tuesday yesterday, so if you guys did not give to TWIS then, now is a good time to do that.
You can keep giving. We keep giving. You keep giving. That's all. Yep.
Wait, I thought it was World AIDS Day yesterday.
I don't know. It was
Can it
Giving
also be?
Tuesday.
I hope it's not. You can't combine those 2 days. It's
Giving
World-
AIDS Tuesday.
World
That's not
Giving
good.
Day. Would not be. Maybe that was 2 days ago. I don't know. It's been a
All
long
right.
week.
All right. And on that note, say goodnight, Justin.
Good night, Justin.
There you go.
Good night, Kiki. Good night, Blair. Good night, everybody. Bye. Buck.
Night.